And we are live. What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEO0320 representing JVS. I have a slew of YouTubers, podcasters here. I'm going to let them announce themselves, but this is going to be our spoiler review discussion for Justice League. Hate it or love it, we're going to break it down and what we really thought about it and give you the ins and outs about everything Justice League related. What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
Well, all right, guys. I will start. So,
sorry. Go ahead.
Drunk Geek here, Anthony. Looking forward to talking about this movie. I'm from Draw for the podcast. I'm also with Mo over there. He'll introduce himself. And I just like to guest star on other people's shows. That way I don't have to take responsibility to do any of the editing. Well, hi.
Yep, I know about that.
Everybody in the chat, make sure y'all give Anthony a happy belated birthday. He had a birthday recently, so shout out to Anthony.
Happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
And I
Happy
actually
birthday.
remember it this year, so I'm maturing.
Oh.
Now I know who's the comedian of the group.
Yeah. He's the life of the party.
Thanks for coming, Anthony. I appreciate you, man.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, I guess because he said me. It's Mo Crosby from Earth 2 Comic Cast. For having me here, Sam. I think we've been trying to do this for a week and a half. I did it on my channel. Anthony features on my channel. Star Trek. I do Arrowverse every Friday, so check us out.
And if you want to see the most comprehensive Star Wars Rebels review, you know what channel to go to.
No, seriously, the most comprehensive one.
That's a challenge.
Out there.
Dang! Wow, we might have to get in on that. Whatever that is. Nah, thanks, Mo. Thanks for coming in, bro. I appreciate you.
No, that's cool.
Everybody go at once.
No,
All
right. All right.
Drawing
Florida, go ahead. Well, I'm Chris. I'm from Ping Pong Flicks. I do a lot of reviews and basically speculation, a lot of movie channels, but Justice League, man, is the biggest one here. So can't wait to talk about it.
Dude, I appreciate you for coming. This is actually Chris's first time joining us for a discussion, so shout out to him. His channel has been really amazing. Great coverage when it comes to anything DCU related, specifically with Justice League. And I really wanted him to be a part of this discussion individually. So thanks for coming, bro.
Thanks.
Is that a bird
Thanks,
or a
everybody.
plane?
I don't know what you were. Y'all heard that too?
So what's up, guys? Blackwing 2040. I've been in the YouTube game for about, I could say, full 4 years now. I do movie reviews. I do live reads of comic books. I do voice acting stuff, top 10s, versus anything nerdy. You can check out my channel.
Dude, Blackwing is a huge accomplishment, man. Like, you've come a long ways, bro. Like, I remember when you first started, dude, and like your quality of video is better. Like, your sub count is huge. You haven't even been doing as many freaking videos, but you've been doing great work, man. Thanks for coming, bro.
Thanks. Thank you.
And any of these guys that you want to subscribe to the channel, you can go to the description bar below. Check out any of the channels. Great work. Some people are going to trickle in, but we're going to go ahead and just dive in. Justice League. There has been a lot of different talks since, I want to say, BVS about the prospect of what Justice League was going to be. It's changed all over the place, but no matter what, we're going to talk about what we got from Justice League, not what it should be, not what we thought it was going to be, but what we got. So I guess what is everybody's individual impression of Justice League coming out of it?
Okay. Initially, I saw it twice. I'm going to see the third time, but I saw it twice. The first time, I went in with no expectations, shut my mind up and said, let me see what this movie can do for me. So I shut my mind off. I'm like, whatever. I went in there. I came out. I loved it. You can attest to that. I think there's a video of me talking about it on Sam's page. You can see my first review when I did it. You know, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. The first screening was great. I think the second screening I went in and I was like, let me try to enjoy it the first time. It's fine. Let me open up my mind and let me go in and let me start to pick things out. from this second screening. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did the first time. I still enjoyed it. It wasn't great. Okay. Let's say if I went in the first time I came out and I said it was great, it was good. So I went from great to good. I mean, not that bad. That I noticed a lot more the second time, but I'll see it again a third time. I don't really care. I enjoyed it regardless. It's a very enjoyable film, and I think every DC fan should be happy with what they did with the characters. If you love the characters, forget the director, forget all the news. If you actually love these characters, I think you should enjoy the movie. That's it.
Yeah, nah, I appreciate that honesty. I'm actually going to come back to you later on when we start talking about Superman. Believe it or not, you guys, a lot of people don't know Superman is in this movie, so we're going to break that down a little bit later on. But yeah, going down the list, what else do you guys think about it?
All right, for me, I saw the movie on premiere night, 10 o'clock p.m. screening with my family. Only saw the movie once so far, but I would like to see it again. I can say, for me, it took me back to the childhood days of watching Justice League on Cartoon Network. It was it was just a nostalgic, and and I could say with everything that was shown in this movie, there were a few points a few minor points that I didn't like, but overall, as a movie as a whole, I was happy with what we got. And regardless of what the reviews were, I didn't care. I just went in because I've been itching for a Justice League movie for like a long time now. So, and I say Zack Snyder really knows what he's doing. Even after he had to drop off from the project, he knows what he's doing, because if people just stop bashing what he's doing and see with the vision that he has and what he's trying to portray, people will understand what he's coming from. So yeah, I love the movie so much. I would love to see it again.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Jonathan. Eventually, we're going to go into our DCU rankings and what we rank these. It's going to be really interesting because it's kind of changed and flip-flop for me. But continue on. What do y'all think?
I guess I'll go. For Justice League, when I saw it several times now, and the first off, because we're so in tune with the behind the scenes, you can start to see the little, like, the mustache gate and things like that. Yeah. But then a few times after that, you just kind of turn that off. You just try to enjoy it for what it was. And for me, it was like if you pulled a graphic novel out and it had no real connection to the other, issues for what it was. So that for me is like almost like a standalone Justice League. It's not the Zack Snyder ending that I wanted, but it is a Justice League movie, through and through for me. So I enjoyed it, even though it had some problems.
Nah, that's definitely fair. It's evident with not just reshoots, but just, it's even coming out of the word of mouth. People that worked in the project, the ending was very different. WB is very adamant about what they said they wanted, and we'll get into a little bit of that as much as we can without, bashing too much. But Anthony, last but not least, what did you think about Justice League?
All right, I need to preface this. I got a Superman symbol on my chest right now. I got the authentic Superman mustache now from the Justice League movie. If you went to my Facebook page, it's me ripping off a suit with a Superman logo on my chest, like so. So I love me some Superman. To say this reminds you of the Justice League cartoon, I think you'd go back and watch that again. This was not that. This was not that at all. I saw it with Mo. Maybe was it Monday? The Monday before it came out.
Yeah, the Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, so like Mo, I fanboyed out because my Superman was kind of hopeful. I was like, yeah, I even loved the autistic Flash. I was good with that. Wonder Woman, who's the real star of the DC universe right now, also impressed me, and then she's probably the worst actor. So I loved it. I went through the movie and I geeked out. And I was like, the first third of this movie was some of the best in the comic book genre, with the ancient war, the graphics, little hint of the Green Lantern in there. I was excited as a geek. As a geek, I was like, I know all this is. I can't wait to see the next start. Then I saw it again that Friday. And when you go back in, and now you can actually sit down and watch the film without like the big epic moments, you notice how when they resurrect Superman, it's dark, and all of a sudden when they're fighting them, it's like midday. You notice how some of the shoots look like the Batman costume was like a Halloween costume. This movie does not fit with the rest of the movies they've shown, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Except it took me out of it. I don't think that it deserves the ratings that they're getting and the hate they're getting. But again, I think the DC cinema has a long way to go, would be my opinion. But I think this, if they get another chance, they're turning the ship in the right direction. Also, they didn't get Batman right. And I don't know how hard it is to get Batman right.
Let's not say that. Okay, you see. I'm not going to let you say that, but this is
let me explain. Let me explain. Batman didn't really serve a purpose in this. He wasn't super intelligent. It wasn't for a strategy. A good Justice League story, to me, balances out having someone like Superman and then having someone on Batman team and having everything in between where everyone serves a role. What point would Batman have to come back to this team? Like, why would you want him back? He was almost a liability in most of this movie. And then when Superman came up, it diffused any of the threat that was happening in the movie. And it kind of, when you look back into it, it's like, well, what's the point of the rest of the team going forward?
So we're going to definitely dive into this a little bit deeper because I've heard the words, this is pointed in the right direction. This is a good movie. But again, like to what Anthony said just a little moment ago, is that it definitely seemed like a Zack Snyder movie, but then it wasn't. It seemed like the other movies, but then it wasn't. And we're going to kind of explore that a little bit more, but I guess I'll touch on, what I thought about the movie. I've seen the movie now 3 times. I saw it initially with the fan screening, then I saw it with the press screening, then I saw it again with one of my friends on Thursday in IMAX in Tyson's Corner. And the second time watching, I actually enjoyed it a little bit more because I went into it feeling with just nothing but anxiety. I was like, looking at the media, hearing all these things and so much controversy for a whole year, a year's worth of controversy. And I was just like, man, I don't even know if I can absorb this anymore. And then I walked out of it and I actually enjoyed it. And I watched it again the second time. And, I knew already, we are blessed and cursed as YouTubers and social media mongers of knowing everything that happens, everything that it was reshot, everything that was removed. We know it all. We know it all, where people are just now talking about it right now. So it's like when I watched the second time, I wasn't really surprised because I knew all this. I knew that I wasn't going to get that epic Zack Snyder film that I had this impression about. I just wanted the movie to be good. And the fact that it entertained me and something that I could definitely watch again. And so many other people that have done reviews on this movie have seen it like 5 or 4 times. That's crazy to me. So it did its job and service that way. But we're going to go back to the Zack Snyder-esque about all of this a little bit later on. But I wanted to give Lucas an opportunity because he just came here. Lucas, what did you think about Justice League? What was your basic impression?
Lou!
It was pretty good. Again, I went into this movie thinking it would. Oh shit! Hold up, I'm on Sam's podcast. Hold on, let me get myself together for a minute.
That's right. Cut out half of your language.
No, I'm not cutting out any of my language. Sam and the JVS audience is me saying what I'm going to say. So I went into this movie thinking it would fucking suck. And while we were in line, I said
to a lot of music like that.
I said that this movie would fucking suck. And the reason why I thought it would suck is because I assumed mistakenly that Zack had more to do with the movie than just being a cinematographer. Because that's what they reduced his role to in this movie, was the cinematographer. Because besides the shots of the movie, nothing else feels like a Zack Snyder movie. The beginning part where Batman feels a lot like Watchmen, but it feels like Watchmen mixed with Dick Tracy. So it was a nice mixture.
That intro song too.
Well, the intro song is Batman '89. It was a playoff of it.
You know, when the guy saying "I tried," like the homeless guy on the street, "I tried," all that felt real Watchmen like.
That's Watchmen, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's what I mean by the shots of it. Because even then, I don't believe the dialogue at all was Zack Snyder's. And as we talk later on, there's a lot more stuff that came out that I do know that tells me it wasn't the Zack Snyder. But as a movie, it's pretty good. It reset the DC universe the way that it needed to. This is X-Men First Class Part 2. And people who expected more, I don't know why they expected more than this. Like you got the perfect movie for what it needed to do. This was not Avengers. This was not anything of that nature, nor was it ever supposed to be anything of that nature. This is a setup film. That's all this is a setup film. And as a setup film, it's pretty good. Again, I think Sam brought it up. The issue that people are having with it is if you are a blogger, a YouTuber, or even movie critics, which this happens more than most people know if you don't really read reviews, if they know the details of the production, they will judge the movie harshly because of it. That's normal. That always happens. That's why most studios attempt to hide things of this nature away from critics because they don't want critics to know, like behind the scenes, by the way, we had to do $30 million worth of reshoots. If you're not good with critics, they're going to bash your movie because of it, even though most critics actually didn't bash this movie because of it. Again, I know that's something else Sam's going to get into because that Rotten Tomato rating makes absolutely no sense. But this is a good movie. If you like this genre of movies, and as I've said repeatedly on most podcasts before, because we've done a couple shows on this, I'm not a fan of this genre at all. I think most of this shit is stupid. But if you are a fan of this genre, this is the type of film you need to see. Stop trying to play the fanboy portion of it and trying to play two studios against each other. Go see the movie. You'll enjoy the movie. You'll love the movie. It is really good. That's my opinion on that one. I could go a lot deeper, but I know you got more subjects. So,
Lou, how many times have you seen this movie so far?
I've seen this movie 2.5 times. And don't ask me about the halftime.
So that was Liz's date night.
Oh my God.
Like, in all honesty, the second time I went to go see this movie, I took my nephew to see it. If you all can see the little guy's picture that's on there, because he personally asked.
I thought that was you.
He personally asked to see this movie. He's a little kid who, while he likes the genre, he does not ask to see these type of movies at all. This is the first time he's asked to see one since Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Did you?
When you see it through the prism of,
I was about to say, did that affect you some?
And everything he saw in that movie, like, again, I'm gonna get a little deep here. For a little black boy to go see this movie and see Cyborg and say, I want to be him when I grow up.
Wow.
Like, that's extremely powerful. And he said it. Like, we're talking, I asked him why. He said because he was so important. He said he didn't have to fight like everyone else to be important.
Nice.
So I think that's
so awesome.
To have two kids, you got to have that appeal because, in all honesty, this is the first DC movie that was made more for the preteen audience than that 17 and older audience that they've been targeting. So this is
so Lucas, I think you nailed something right in the head because it's a black character whose mind is the most important thing in his and technology and everything like that. He's not a muscle. He's not the big black guy with a gun. Like it's a different type of character because my 7-year-old, she went to go see it and she just loves Wonder Woman now. Like she goes with the bracelets that we won from the premiere when we went with Sam. And she, and it's a character that in all honesty looks like her. So like,
I would say, again, I'm not gonna. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I got to make this one.
You are.
But I'm saying is that it was a powerful female character.
Exactly.
And when I mean powerful, someone that could trade punches with the guys and be the superhero. She's not the damsel in distress.
They're on the same level.
Exactly.
And I actually had to show her. A scene in one of the cartoons where Wonder Woman whooped Superman's ass, just so she knew that it wouldn't just always be that one-sided fight. And so now she knows more history about how Wonder Woman is a better fighter than Superman, even though he might be more powerful. So but having her look at that and wanting to be more into martial arts and things like that because she has a superhero now, I love that. I love that.
DC has done an awesome job at making these characters relatable, and that's difficult for this genre.
In this
No, that's
movie,
true.
I would say this in Wonder Woman. I wouldn't say all the movies.
Oh no, I'm discounting the other ones, and I'm not going to voice my opinion about them right now.
And also,
we're gonna stay on topic. We're gonna stay on topic.
But also, if you talk about other characters people look at, Flash I tell you, it's a big growing community in the autism community that's loving Flash. And I think that those Cyborg and Flash are the two stars of this movie to me.
The accidents, yeah.
Yep.
They're probably the most relatable out of all the Justice League members.
Yeah,
they're more human, I guess you could say.
There you go.
Well, that's actually the segue, because the next question I was really going to ask you guys is, what was your favorite character and what did they mean to you in this movie? Not so much their history, but in this movie, what was your favorite character and what did they mean to you? Because I mean, for me, it was definitely Cyborg, but I want to hear from you guys.
Samson's favorite character.
I'm Superman all out. Superman's my number one, man.
You don't like the Superman.
And he's like OP now? That's awesome.
No. Oh my god.
Steve, I'll tell you this. Well, for me, I have a Superman shirt on. I am going to get a Borg Life shirt in a couple of weeks because he was my standout character. Like Ray Fisher, held it down. Like, he was my biggest concern going into the movie. If I did have any concerns about the characters, it was Ray Fisher, because again, he's the biggest unknown.
He's also the only character Superman didn't show up. He is.
Anyways, but Ray Fisher held it down, and he took Cyborg again from what we all know about Cyborg. If you're not reading Cyborg comic books, because I read the Cyborg, the joints from the New 52 I've read, and I read Rebirth. If you're not reading any of those Cyborg comic books, if you're not, you don't know what that character looks like, because all you know from Cyborg is Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go.
True.
He owns Cyborg. I can definitely.
That's the most people have seen
Cyborg. Ray Fisher owns Cyborg, and that "booyah" he said, biggest payoff in the whole movie. That was the biggest payoff line in the whole movie.
Yeah, that definitely catered to all the fanboys out there.
Number two.
Anybody else?
Pick a second.
I guess I'll go next. Okay, so agreeing with man, bro, I forgot your name. I'm so sorry.
Who, Chris or Mo?
Who, me, Mo?
Mo, there we go, Mo. Just piggyback on what Mo said.
2 letters.
Of all the characters I was worried about, of all characters I was worried about being portrayed was Cyborg, because I always feel like Cyborg is more of a Titan than a Justice Leaguer, because I grew up with him as a Teen Titan. I read the George Perez and Marv Wolfman Teen Titan comics, and I understand his character background and his struggle. And as well, I read the New 52 Justice League series. It's one of my favorite New 52 runs, even though I despise the New 52. But anyway, I was like, the way Ray Fisher portrayed Cyborg as a character, we got to see his pain. We got to I wouldn't call it suffering, but we got to see the pain that he was going through and how he was trying to combat that pain through everything, especially with him being I would say he's the younger well, they're all outsiders. I would say it's between him and Flash being the younger members of the entire team, but the way how he just combats it without any, complaints whatsoever. As soon as when he was given that pep talk with Wonder Woman, he felt like he didn't belong. And then when he came to the team after, Gordon lit the signal in Gotham, I felt like right there, that's when he started to know he felt like he belonged there, especially during the final battle. He was comfortable with his own skin. He knew what he was doing, and it just works. Cyborg really blew me. It really blew my expectations out of the water for this movie. So definitely Cyborg.
That's actually a really fair point, because a lot of people say he was kind of underutilized. I think his story arc, it could have been extended. It could have went a little bit further and a little bit deeper. And I know they changed and removed some things, even shots that we've seen. But the reality is they would not have been able to do what they did, including bringing Superman back, without Cyborg. None of needed.
I've heard that before. They wish they had more of a story arc with them. You kind of got his origin story, especially if they wanted to develop that later on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what people wanted more of that. Like you understood what he could do. They gave hints of what his growing power was. I think this is the best representation of Cyborg in any media, in my opinion.
You're right. No, because I knew Cyborg from some of the comics and mostly from the animation, and I didn't really care too much about Cyborg until this movie. Like this movie, he really shined in this film, and that actually surprised me, believe it or not. And the Flash, like I really enjoyed the Flash in this. I didn't think he was. I thought he was just gonna be an annoying teenager or whatever. My friends didn't really care for him, but when I saw it with my two kids, my Grayson, who really is a Batman fan, he says my favorite character is the Flash. So I'm incredibly surprised by that, but he is a little quirky, just like Ezra Miller. So I think that's why he connects with him. But and I like all the characters. I actually like them interacting. Their interaction, even just talking to each other, really gave me a lot of great positivity to it, and I really enjoyed those moments. It didn't matter who they were. It didn't matter if it was Aquaman just insulting Flash or whoever. I just love those moments.
It gave context to their relationships, which is something we've been sorely missing from a lot of these films. Just a little moments, like the graveyard scene with Flash and Cyborg. Like I love that.
Oh, I love that scene. Yeah.
Flash and Cyborg.
Yeah, I love that scene. I love that.
Well, let's see.
Flash and Cyborg movie because of that scene. ASAP, like
I'd watch that. I'd watch that.
I would watch
but they made sure that almost everybody, I think maybe Aquaman missed some people, but I think they made sure everybody had a one-on-one conversation to give context later on to their interactions. Yeah. And that's something that you need in a film like this, especially like this. You want to bring all these really strong characters together. And again, so you cared more about them. And even though I think Cyborg's CGI was kind of wonky at certain points, I like that he still had that weight to him, and you still felt his I forget his name, the guy that made the Terminator 2, like or
Joe Morton.
Terminator.
What's his name?
Joe Morton.
Yeah,
Silas Stone.
They had enough of their interactions that
you should never be allowed around kids with technology.
Ever. We should be blowing his head right now. I don't
ever. He's done.
But for me, weird. The first time I saw it, when we left the screen, and I said my favorite character was Cyborg. The second time I saw this movie, my favorite character was Batman. And here's the reason why. Because again, at this point, we'll put on my movie guy hat here, because it's Batman became my favorite character because his story moving forward to me will be the most powerful one. They're playing Batman as the guy who is used to everything being one way, and now he's the fish out of water.
Yeah.
I think that scene with him and Alfred, when Alfred said, if we could just go back to the days of exploding penguins, and Batman's like, yeah, the simple times. He's the guy out of place here. So he's the one who's attempting to find his way in a world that is not the world he's been accustomed to fighting for 20 years, because he's the hero. All the rest of them are just starting out, except for Wonder Woman. And I think another important scene was when Batman told Wonder Woman, you shut it down for a century, you have no say-so.
Dang.
That is highly important of him saying that, because at that point, he's letting you know, like, I've been doing the work. You haven't. So you can't come and tell me anything when you decided on your own that you didn't want this life anymore. So playing the grizzled old veteran, again, I grew up loving Westerns. So I resonate with that character of that old gunslinger who's like, this is the way I'm used to doing things. And then the world changing and him having to adapt to it. And moving forward, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. And that's why he became my favorite character, because I fully understood that part. And it gave me peeks into what you're going to get out of Matt Reeves' Batman, because I do believe that's not the Batman that Zack Snyder shot. That's the Batman that DC got Joss to shoot. to set up for the Matt Reeves movie.
So I would agree with all that. Oh well, no, you just said it. Because again, this isn't the Batman. We've seen like 3 different versions of this Batman, who's supposed to be the same Batman through Suicide Squad, through Batman vs Superman, and through this. And even that line didn't make sense because we know he retired for a couple of years. So like,
in what movie did they state that?
When did he retire?
He came back. He'd been gone for a while. They mentioned
he was never gone in Batman vs Superman. He was still branding people in Batman vs Superman.
No, he came back.
Never left
them. But all right, maybe I'm wrong. We can look that up.
That was the original. That was the original concept that Zack Snyder wanted, but I think they took that out.
They completely took that out of the movie because they did not like the idea of Batman not being there because Batman is supposed to be.
If Batman doesn't need to use a cane and doesn't have a heart attack, he never quits. That's what I hated about the Dark Knight 3 Rises.
I mean, that doesn't matter. Batman Beyond that proved that is a
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I could never get through this. This Batman wasn't Batman to me. But I get what you like about it, Lucas. He just wasn't. Again, I say this in a lot of things. He wasn't a Batman I can relate to. He wasn't my Batman.
I'm about to say I would normally say what I normally interject when people say stuff like that, but I'm going to leave it alone today.
No.
I'm went in about stuff like that. No. I don't understand that part. It's about when people say it's not the blank, and I know what you're referring to.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
And I kind of always make the point of it's not the same medium, meaning it's not the same character ever evolving around the same medium. You cannot compare the two, so you can't go. It's not the same Batman from comic books because it's not a comic book movie. It's not a comic book character. That's what I mean by that.
Because there's actually a point to this, and I actually wanted to bring this up next anyway. A lot of different people have been saying this movie is not Zack Snyder's vision of what he wanted. I mean, even based on conversations I've had with Anthony and Lucas, it's evident we all agree that this is not the movie that Zack wanted. For the good or for the bad, no matter what, this movie, from a lot of people's perception, it's a lot more funner than BVS. I can even agree to that. The issue is when you start talking about like the characterizations of where the characters are going versus what they were established in BVS. What Lucas said was really interesting because a lot of people say that the Batman in BVS, they liked him more than they liked the Batman in Justice League because the tone and the change, even the way his utilization was, he felt inferior than everybody else in Justice League in comparison to BVS. In BVS, he was the biggest threat, and it didn't make sense how he was the biggest threat, but it was dope.
No, it does though because and again, I'm not a big fan of murdering Batman. Like murdering Batman and Batman vs Superman is not my Batman, but he still felt like an intimidating threat
to me. I didn't really care about it that much. It didn't bug me.
Yeah, I'm not talking about just killing. I'm talking about murdering. But that's something different.
I mean, that's the whole point. So the reason why I bring that up, right? When people say this is not my Batman, this is not, where are we drawing this line in comparison? You understand what I'm trying to say? Because if you can't have the Batman from BVS, you didn't get that for Justice League. You got this Batman. What Batman do you want? Because I think that from a public perception, even critics, what they're doing is they're looking from all these different other locations like, well, this is the piece of Batman that I know, or this is the comic book. And I even agree with Lucas said, you can't retcon something based on the comic.
So no, I'm not saying about the comic. And again, people always go to that. And so this is what I would say. And we have to look at this, the vision of all the directors that have used superheroes. And I think the Spider-Man, all the Spider-Man movies are a great example of this. Sam Raimi made the first 3 Spider-Man movies, first 2 Spider-Man movies off of his Spider-Man. That Spider-Man was not our Spider-Man. His Spider-Man was the 60s, 70s Spider-Man that he grew up with. And he made movies about that, but we recognize that and we can embrace that vision. I would say for most of us on here, I'm not gonna say that. For me, my Batman always goes to the animated series and later on Justice League Unlimited. That's my first reference point. And whether we believe it or not, every version of characters that have been with us for decades and decades, we relate to some point. Lucas doesn't have a reference point for the comic book stuff. A lot of that because that wasn't his thing. Which one of the reasons why I respect his opinion when we go to certain things like this, because he doesn't have an image built up in his mind of anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's true for everything. Yeah.
right. So when I say that it's not my Batman, or anybody says it's not my Batman, you can't dismiss that, because this is what it is. If you say I love Superman, right? What do you love about Superman? Do you just love that he has powers? Do you love his costume? Do you love that he's a beacon of hope? What do you love about him? Because if I strip away everything about him, but just give him 2 of his powers and call him Superman, is that still Superman? At what point, how many parts can you switch out of a car before it's a different car? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
that's
I
totally
think
valid. Yep.
to even consult, I think that a lot of people is a really good example of that. Me and Mo have had conversations up and down about that, because, you know, I appreciated what happened with Christopher Reeve. You know, to a fault, I actually looked at, you know, Brandon Routh's Superman Returns, which I will get into that later, but and Man of Steel, I was like, I've never seen Superman like this. I've seen him in every kind of medium. I've seen every single cartoon. I've seen every single old cartoons. I've seen every single movie. I've seen Lois and Clark. I've seen Smallville, but I've never seen, you know, a Superman like this that's close to the current renditions of the comics. And for me, I appreciated that, to go and narrow down a point of reference. But what everybody else is on the outside, they're, what the heck is this? What is this? I don't know. And, you know, and I understand it from a consumer standpoint, because that goes back to what Anthony's saying. You're going back from a frame of reference. But for me, it's all over the place. But I had never seen, you know, Superman presented in that way, and that's why I appreciated Man of Steel so much more. That's the reason why I could continue to watch.
So I would say this again, and I didn't realize this when I saw Man of Steel. I took my 16-year-old cousin, and when he snapped his neck, another friend that was with us was like, Superman doesn't kill, and I was going back to references we had, but I was like, I need to see the next movie. And my 16-year-old cousin was like, no, some people just got to get got. And I was like, that's not how I feel Superman should act, but okay. And then later on in the Justice League War movie, he killed Desaad, I think, to snap his neck out of anger, and I was like,
yeah, he did.
Whoa.
He did.
And I was
talk about when he took under control and like Batman tried to snap him out of it.
Yeah. When he woke up, he snapped Desaad's neck out of his own free will. That wasn't, and I was like, no, that is all right. So I'm not trying to offend anybody of any religion. I'm not trying to do anything like that. There was a podcast maybe a couple years ago where it talked about how a lot of our concepts of God, Superman is actually a better version of that, because he doesn't lord his power over us. He doesn't impose his will on us, because he has the strength to. And taking that out of the context of religion, the fact that Superman has the power to do almost anything but restrains himself is part of his strength in a way. So when I see Superman just knock a guy with a gun through 3 walls and kill him, or snap somebody's neck, and that is changing what I believe Superman is. Now, that's fine. Every generation goes through a thing where this ain't my music, this ain't my character, this is what I think of as a hero. But I think that when Superman does stuff like that, you have to also look at, is Optimus Prime shooting an enemy that's surrendering in the back of the head? Like, oh crap.
It depends on what movie you're looking at.
Right. And so it shows a different evolution of what actually counts as a hero. And it kind of brings me back to Alan Moore was right about Watchmen. He was right about where our culture was going and how we were going to view heroes. And now the Punisher and Wolverine are the standard, and we don't have a lot of faith in making a character just a good guy who's above principles, who we should aspire to be, not in strength, but in
like anti-heroes.
Yeah. And so it scares me when we go, I'm okay that Batman not just killed, Batman murdered people in BVS. He murdered people.
I mean, well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna agree with you and disagree with you. And this is how I'm gonna say it. In the 1989 Batman killed other people as well.
Oh, I remember this opinion.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Is that your Batman?
He said somebody. It was my Batman, but that's not even my point. Even in, you know what I'm saying, Superman 2, he definitely killed General Zod and the Minions, because they had powers and they just got, they got. But point. What wins awards in the Academy Awards? Is it a hero or is it a villain? would somebody that is a villain have a more likelihood of winning something, or a character that's slighted or demented or tormented win something that's a award before somebody that's just naturally good? And people's perception publicly, absolutely, like they have changed their look upon what is considered the American dream or the hero. If the hero doesn't have like dirt or something like more so catered to Batman or Punisher, I definitely agree. Their perception is, no, he hasn't earned, my rights with him because he's not connected with me. But that's a good segue into this, because this Superman we got in this movie was completely different.
He wasn't Dr. Manhattan Superman anymore.
I don't know.
Hold on. Before we get into the topic, I never got to state the opinion about the characterization with everything. So yeah,
I'm about to say, Jonathan, me too. Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I was easily able to point out each characterization, I would say, to a T. Like with Aquaman, he felt like the '90s Aquaman with with the harpoon for a hand. That Aquaman, that's what I felt like he looked like. Flash. And Sam said this in his spoiler review. It was a hybrid of Barry and Wally. I immediately spotted that. Yeah. I felt like this was more Justice League animated oriented and animated Batman.
No. Okay, sorry.
This is what I'm seeing. League Unlimited Batman. Now, the early stage Justice League, no. Early stage animated Batman, no. But later
on.
All right, let me tell you 3 scenes.
Yeah, hold on.
3 scenes that you can fix this Batman.
I have just interrupted Jonathan's point because he.
Oh, you're right, Jonathan. I'm sorry. I get a little excited.
Okay.
I love Batman.
We all do. But yeah,
I guess
Cyborg, he felt like he wasn't his Teen Titans counterpart. He was like legit his comic book counterpart. And for Superman, it was difficult to see because this is something new that we got. Because when we first got Man of Steel, this Superman wasn't like his hopeful self. This Superman was more like, started to, protect mankind to then being judged by mankind by what he does. And then as soon as he makes the ultimate sacrifice, then mankind really misses him. And then he comes back. What do you got? So that's pretty much what I'm saying and seeing.
Okay, let me go. Because Ant needs to keep himself on mute because he's going to try to interrupt me as I'm talking here.
I've been yelling the whole time. I've been on mute this whole time, just yelling and screaming and punching this.
Because you all come in, because all of you all who read comic books, and not just you all here, but people in general that read comic books, you come in with preconceived notions of characters.
Yeah.
But you all actually do it at a detriment to every movie you go see when these characters are naturally evolving over every movie. The reason Superman is different in this movie is because you got to check him from the baseline of Man of Steel. From him starting out to, as Jonathan pointed out, to him becoming jaded, to him dying and coming back. At that point, he has a different perception of the way he's supposed to operate. The reason Murder Batman is not Murder Batman in this movie is not because it's two separate characters. It's because at the end of BVS, when Batman said, I have to learn how to do things differently. That's the evolution of the character. You kind of saw it partially in Suicide Squad when he wasn't murdering all of them, when he clearly could have murdered all of them.
That timeline doesn't make sense. The timeline doesn't make sense.
It's the evolution of the character. It's the evolution of the character because, again, with BVS, which I absolutely hate, but I noticed the way they set up Batman, and I noticed the way they set it up again. A whole part of it is at what point, and this has not been explored in this universe yet, and it's going to be explored in the Batman, is what point did Batman become so jaded with killing or being extremely violent was the option.
They never got to show that.
And because you haven't got to that point of the character yet, you're jumping to conclusions about the character without having a fully formed character yet. This is part of the issue when you introduce a character and don't give that character a full movie.
So I think you missed my point on both those characters. You missed my point on both those characters.
I didn't pay attention to your point on
Batman-
either one of them, so I'm gonna need you to let me finish.
Okay, well that's no problem then. So let me explain
Okay.
why that doesn't make sense.
No.
Batman,
How
Batman
can
and
you
Superman,
interrupt me and I'm
Batman
still
and
talking?
Superman. Because you just
How can you interrupt me and I'm still talking?
Because you're that. Because you're that. All right, finish your point. Finish your point.
Anthony,
Like-
to be fair, let him finish, and then you can interject because we haven't even got to the next.
Nobody else is gonna go.
Exactly. I'm about to say because it keeps on interrupting. Like,
I have talked a lot. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I like these.
the whole point of film is to progress characters. I could care less what any of what these people do in comic books. That does not matter, because the start of every character is the start of whatever universe the characters are introduced in. You're not getting an 89 Batman. You're not getting Christian Bale's Batman. Why would you get those characters? Here's the key part. When they reintroduce characters to you, technically, from a movie standpoint, you're supposed to forget those other characters ever existed. Those characters are no longer or don't matter at all. This is movie. This is what I mean by it always happens with a confusion, because you all, not you all, but in general, comic book people are way too connected already to the characters to accept the changes that naturally happen in all of them. Because y'all just getting used to this. People who've been reading novels for years, if I told you how many of the characters I've seen from movie to movie to movie that are based off novels and it's the same character, damn it, Harrison Ford changed. What's the Amazon series is coming out? I forget the name of it right now. The Jack Ryan character in the movie has changed 5 or 6 times, completely from anything he is in a book. But I knew from the beginning you have to accept it as it is, because they're showing you something different. And they're getting a different interpretation of the character. That does not mean I go back and judge it based off of all the previous renditions of that same character.
Right.
Yeah. And Mo, did you have anything? We haven't got your last characterization, and then we can move into Superman.
I'll say Superman till later, because I feel like you want to talk about Superman separately. But the other 5, I'm not mad at what I got from Aquaman in this movie, because next year, this time, he gets his own movie. I can wait. I think people who are saying Aquaman felt the least should shut up. No, seriously. I understand your point, but you really should shut up. He gets a full movie next year. And I think what Justice League is doing, I think Lucas has said something about it, or Jonathan, one of you had said, this is a setup movie. All these characters, little bites.
100%.
You get little bites of everybody's character to get full-fledged movies. And I think what this movie did is set up everybody, but everyone keeps saying, especially Anthony has said, this is not Batman. You who Batman is, because every other year we get a different comic book with a different Batman. Why can't that happen in a movie? One. We've gotten this feels like a Justice League Doom type Batman versus a Batman who feels guilt for what he did. This is a mixture of Batman, because there are a lot of things he said in this movie, like when Alfred said to him, if he doesn't like coming back, and he goes, he'll get over it. How is that not Batman?
I said it wasn't my Batman. So you keep saying I said it wasn't Batman. Fair. I said it wasn't or how I relate to the character. I don't own this character. I don't get to decide who that character is. I am saying that this isn't the character that I relate to as a Batman.
But that is very unfair.
If I
by you saying that, you're automatically dismissing the character. You're
with the Doomsday Clock.
Oh.
Is Rorschach Batman? If you dress Rorschach up as Batman, does it make him Batman?
Wait, hold on. Anthony, I don't think anybody's coming for you.
Well, no, he said that I said that this wasn't Batman, and I'm saying I never said that. I said that this wasn't my Batman. Batman I relate to.
Even in the chat, I've been looking at the chat. Some people have been like disputing some of the things about Aquaman, and some people have been saying some other things specific. I don't think that Mo's coming for you, Anthony. Just to be the media.
I'm not mad at him. I was just clarifying that point, because he said it 3 times, that I'm saying that this isn't Batman. And I was like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this isn't my Batman.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people I've heard even talked about The Flash, and it was like, that's not Barry Allen. And they can't, kind of like what, I don't know if Jonathan said it or Lucas said, I can't even remember at this point, saying that from my spoiler review, I was talking about how this was a hybrid Barry Allen and Wally West, and it fused perfectly because this is a young Barry Allen, so it's merited because we don't see what he's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? And it's like some people's perception is like, his suit is jacked up. He doesn't. It's like he just started, you know, and their expectation is met with, you know, fail and distaste. And so, I mean, I get what you're saying, Anthony. It's nothing wrong with that because plenty of people feel the same exact way. I think that just my perception of it, it's like I'm accepting of where these characters are going. And I think I agree with Lucas in the sense that if you look at BVS, Batman, and everything that he thought, everything that he tried to do, and the guilt that he felt after the fact, you know, it puts and platforms him to being who he is now. I think one of the most human things I've ever seen or heard Batman say was like, he's more human than me. And I think
I love that scene.
I love that.
Mo gave me that clip, and I was like, yo, I ain't never heard Batman sound so humble.
Did y'all get the correlation? Did you get the correlation, Sam, from BVS?
I did.
When he talked about how he felt Superman needed to be checked because why would absolute power go unchecked? And then he went from why would absolute power go unchecked to the guy's actually more human than me.
So
Batman even told Superman, "You're not even a man."
It's a straight correlation of him understanding, one, his limitations, two, that he had to evolve because of everything that happened.
Not counting Suicide Squad, not counting Suicide Squad, his progression, not counting Suicide Squad, his progression of how he thought makes perfect sense. I'm not saying it doesn't. From him murderous to wanting to be better, like that makes sense. And I also thought I read somewhere that Zack Snyder's version was he was going to be almost suicidal, thinking that he needed to like go to the extreme to make up for what he did to Superman. And I love that.
But that was implied though. Like he went out there to die. Like he went in with that wing jet, like knowing it was gonna crash.
My problem with this Batman is, like you pointed out, is that he was a threat in Batman versus Superman, where in this one he was more of a joke. And they made it more like Hawkeye in Avengers, where Batman where there was a wink at the camera every second saying, "I'm just a guy here with a bow." They made a point of bringing it up all the time that you don't even have any powers, you don't have this or that. Where in other, I know you don't like comparing it.
What's that?
Batman,
Wait. What is that? I can't focus. It sounds like someone's in the tunnel.
I don't know what that is. Where how Batman works in a team like this for me, and I can't speak for everybody else. The reason why this didn't work for me is because Batman's strategic mind, his intelligence, his willpower to push things beyond, and to be kind of two steps ahead of everybody, that what makes him work on a team like this. In this one, though, even like how you view a suit in real life and things like that, it didn't mold it to the fact where I felt he was a threat, or even beyond just being the backing or the money. There's a point from the being on a team after this point. So
yeah, I think that was. I think you're completely correct because I think that was the point. I think that they intentionally wanted to make him be the most, irrelevant of the cause. The cause is he understands, like he even said, I don't know how much longer I can do this. It wasn't saying, Ben Affleck's character is going to go out of there or Batman's no longer be Batman.
Like
that's to say that he can't do it on his own. He needs somebody else to take up the realm. And I think that they intentionally did that. But CJ, what's going on, man?
I think that DC has a history of not trusting source material really well, and I think that they look at this and go, "How is Batman on this? How is Batman on this team? Like, what? Everybody should point out that he doesn't belong here." So again, hold on. So again, I am not saying that his progression as going from the murderous Batman to this don't make sense. I'm just saying I don't like how he seemed irrelevant to the overall usefulness of the team on a long-term standard goes, because that's not, again, my Batman in Justice League.
Because they didn't. Because here's the thing.
Have you seen? Okay. I'm sorry, CJ. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I know I was gonna be on here real quick and stuff. My thing with Batman is this: Batman in a lot of media, when it comes to anything Justice League related, especially when you look at Justice League War, he is the field general. He has an idea and he points the team in a direction, and then he goes off and does stuff that's related to what their mission is. So case in point, look at Justice League War. What was he doing? All right, you guys handle Darkseid. I go in here and I'll fuck around with the Darkseid's computer in order to open up the open up the boom tube. All right, cool. You do that. Because he knows full and well what the fuck is he gonna do? Fight a parademon?
He's not the brawn of the Justice League team.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like I think the problem with the movie is that okay, Bruce had ideas, but I think they wanted to show Batman do so much, and at the end of the day, you end up making him look weak instead of making him look strong. Like when he's fighting the parademons, it's like, okay, he throws a bomb on one parademon, and oh, bam, he uses the guns and he's shooting them. It's like, okay, that's fine, but like, you kind of basically ran out of ideas of what you would probably do with Batman in that scene.
And to be fair, most of the Batman movies never focus on his intelligence or the strategy he's able to come up with. They usually focus on he can beat
My
people
question
up.
is, did you guys see BVS when Doomsday was causing problems? What did he
put the
do?
thumbs up and was like, you guys got it.
Yeah. Did you see? Did you guys see the Justice League Dark animated movies?
I did not like that
earlier
movie.
this year.
I saw it and I did not like that movie.
Yeah.
Sullivan was Batman on that team.
Who?
Look, I gotta explain that. Explain that.
It wasn't needed at all.
Exactly.
He wasn't needed. He shouldn't have even been in that movie.
The only reason why Batman was in that movie was just because people could just buy the movie. You're not gonna have people understand who Constantine is, who's Zatanna, who's Swamp Thing.
He has connections to it. Yeah.
I think the key part here, and I keep on pointing back because again, I'm always going to go back to movie logic because I could care less about comic book logic at all. I don't care to compare this to nothing else because I will never do that because again, completely different medium. The whole point of Batman, and the whole point of Batman in this series as it pertains to movies, because I saw it before this movie was made, I kind of thought that this would be the direction they would go with Batman. The reason is, again, maybe he used this intelligence and everything 20 years ago, but he's getting to the point where he went from brute force. It's going to take a progression to get back to the point of him doing the other stuff. That's the whole point of this.
But the problem is,
it's the same thing if you watch any mystery type of film where you have someone who was a cop for 30 years and the detective work they did when they're early part of their career against what they do in the later part of their career when they have to relearn all of that stuff. That's the point of Batman. That's the point they're trying to build you to. Again, this is a situation where, again, throw anything out for a comic book, look at the way the character is being built. I saw that from the beginning. And then when Matt Reeves
you need evidence of that.
It's going to be it's all in the movie. You just miss it.
Evidence of
as Matt Reeves already told you in the film noir Batman series. No, because when the next director said that Batman is more of a film noir series, that automatically told me exactly where the character was going. But then you would have to watch a lot of film noir to understand those type of characters and how you build those characters in film. This is clearly obvious to me.
No.
It's repeatedly.
No.
The problem is, it's not the Batman that you all are used to.
No. We get that. Here's the thing. I think
you're missing the point, Lucas.
We get that to a point, but my thing is this: it kind of starts, but it's like you said. He's been 20 years out of the game. Cool, fine. And that's probably why I excuse a lot of stuff in BVS when it came to him, because I get it. I wish there was more context and stuff. But
not 20 years out the game, but not 20 years out the game, but he changed his approach during that 20-year run.
He's battle hardened. So I, to a point, excuse some of the stuff in BVS and stuff. I wasn't as hard on Batman in that movie, even though ultimately him being in that fucking Dark Knight Return suit was still stupid. But whatever. But the thing of it is, it's like, okay, he's been 20 years again. He has to change up. But my thing is this. Okay, you're getting old. At some point when you're getting old, you have to kind of change up your approach and you have to actually start using your head on all these things. And that's probably my problem. It's like kind of have to kind of start being smart.
He's just
right. And they didn't show that. They didn't show that in this. The best thing they did was show his experience when he talked to the Flash. And he talked about Flash being a hero when he was like, just shave one and you'll know what you do after that.
But Chris,
that was his experience.
Chris, you got to also point out that all of this stuff with superheroes is just new to him, brand new to him. So if someone's been in something for 30 years and then miraculously, all of a sudden, everybody taking steroids and I'm not used to this shit, of course it's going to take a minute for me to adjust to that happening. The problem is
you're throwing excuses
from BVS.
No, that's fine.
Exactly, because for movies that makes perfectly good.
I mean, look at the animated. If you look at the 90s animated series, right? Think about the 90s animated series, right? If you look at that whole series up until that Superman cartoon, Batman was just dealing with his own bullshit. So the movie lines up to that to a point, because you look at the animated series up until season 4 when Superman animated series came up, when Superman finally dropped into that world. Batman was just dealing with street level shit.
Was that Batman a genius?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could that Batman strategize, and out?
But that's the thing. He didn't sit there.
And did he often do that?
It took him a minute to do that. Think about it like this.
No, hold on. Because that Batman, most of the villains he fought, he could beat in a straight fight. So it was never a brawn thing.
Yeah.
It was always an intellect thing. What I am saying is that
I mean, Brainiac did take over his brain in season 4 too, so he's just getting to that whole thing of messing around with aliens now. So it's when you got Justice League, that's when it's like, okay, now he's dealing with aliens.
Is there anything in Justice League that was not seeded that he could do? Anything he did in Justice League that wasn't seeded in his own series?
I think with Justice League, they just showed his intelligence. So he knew certain things, like he knew the alien invasion was coming based on certain things. So the show did show that at the beginning.
One scene in Justice League that would have made perfect sense in this movie. Does anybody remember the thing in Justice League where he takes out these international criminals and they start speaking some other language and he's like,
"Yep, I remember that."
He's like, you couldn't understand me, and even if you did, I wouldn't tell you anything. And Batman just looks at him and is like, I can understand you, and you will. If he had done that in the Aquaman scene where they're talking, I guess, the Norwegian language, if he had just started talking their language, I'd be like, oh crap. Same thing with Madame Gao in Daredevil when she's like, I speak all languages. Right there, you got her intelligence, the character, you got her culture. You're like, oh crap, this is something scary.
Isn't Madame Gao like
little things?
Little
things.
I'm gonna have to stop it.
Around, bro. Like,
I'm about to say, because you're literally still comparing one medium to the next.
I know it's tough. That's the thing.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
But then it proves my point of saying that y'all came in with baggage with these characters already.
Baggage.
That's what it is. It's straight baggage with the characters already.
I haven't said I don't associate this character with a certain type. What I'm saying is I don't see how this character fits in this movie that makes it fun for me for this character. But that's okay. I mean, it's not for me. It is for you. That's great.
That's okay. We're gonna move forward. All right. So this part is gonna be a negative and a positive for most of you guys. I'm pretty sure I've talked to all of y'all about it generally. What did y'all think about the Superman? Because we've been talking about Batman this entire time.
Yes.
The same amount of devotion you talked about Batman.
Here we go.
The concept
about somebody that matters.
The concept of Superman.
So are we talking about
Superman was freaking the I win button in this movie. As soon as he came in there, and Dee will tell you this,
become an I win button. He's always I win button.
But the fact that they emphasize it even more, and I caught next to you, and I was like, in Q Super Cena mode now. And I was like, yep, there you go.
He showed up. You and I were saying it like, so they just won the fight now because he showed up. And I get it. Yeah, he can break everything. He's faster than speed, but all that bull crap. But he is a straight up I win button. He always have been. Have you not looked at the first 2 Superman movies, man? Everything you did with him.
But it felt like this movie really emphasized it way more. And it's like, damn, he just shitted on the whole fucking league. God damn.
All right, so let's stop for a second. That's perfect. Because the reality is they wanted to give everybody the Superman they said that they didn't get in BVS and Man of Steel. They said that he needs to be selfless. He needs to be a parent of all human life, no matter what's going on. He needs to be strong. He needs to be confident. And to Lucas's point, he has gone through a metamorphosis. You sit there and die. He had even said and implied, like, I don't want to die again. Like, I actually value this life so much more. He's not, worried about who he is. He knows who he is. He knows his capability. Matter of fact, even Aquaman said and implied, like, there's something that's going to be missing from him. What was missing from him is crazy enough is his self-doubt and his self-worth. Like, it didn't matter about anything else other than achieving the goal and saving people. That's it. So he didn't have that.
Wasn't the video at the beginning of the movie like that too?
Give me a second.
Let the man run a show, Anthony.
Is because everybody talked so bad about him in BVS and Man of Steel that they got the Man of Steel or the Superman that they said that they always wanted. But then there's an overlying problem here. And that's where I'm going to let you guys interject. And I know CJ and D went into it a little bit, but this is where, you start pulling at straws from what your interpretations and why he should progress the way he did. Because it definitely has changed. I think that every single sequence about the fight, as cool as it was different. and I don't know what Zack wanted to do with it. I'm not sure how it ended, but I think that there was a longer evil Superman than what we got in this movie, for the good or bad. I know that was,
to be honest with you, that would have been an actual excellent conflict in the movie if like half the movie was evil Superman they had to battle. That would have been nice.
People would have been complaining.
I would have hated every second of it. I would have hated every second of it. If they made him evil longer than what I would have hated it even more. But the point, I think, really what you really fall on that is that there was more to it. There probably was more. But here's the funny thing: if you did it any longer, I think it would have it would have been stupid. Like, I think people right now are already tugging at invisible strings about why they didn't like this Superman in the first place. I'm just got to be really honest with you. I thought it was perfect because he came out like, I hate to make an analogy because they're so the same, but like him and Goku are the same person to me. They're really the same. Just one is way more intelligent than the other, but still they're the same type of person. So when Ish goes down, they're going to turn on and they're going to become what you say, Superman, unbeatable. They're going to be that person. The fact that I think the prime example of that is when Superman was choking out Aquaman and he saw Flash running toward him like, bitch, stop, because I can see you. That was awesome to me. If you did evil like Superman longer, it would have been dumb. It would have been dumb. You start putting, especially when Lois shows up, it would have been even more, you're making Superman soft or whatever dumb mess. I think we were fine with Superman we got.
That's why D's my spirit animal.
All right, so I'll talk about Superman because y'all talked about Batman. So
Gets on the soapbox, you can't take him off.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. The Superman we got, the Superman I saw, this is coming from someone who liked Superman and Man of Steel.
You better use another L word there because you didn't like it.
I'm about to say
you didn't like it. You better use another L word there.
I'm trying to be conservative. I'm not trying to do the most. But okay, fine. I'll say this is coming from someone who loved Superman and Man of Steel and loved Superman and Batman v Superman. But I'll say this.
And Superman Superman 4 also. You love Superman. You always love Superman.
No. I love New 52 Superman. I'll tell you that. This Superman, if there's anything over love, if there's a way to quantify my emotions that's bigger than love.
Obsession. Huh? That's the one over love. Obsession.
This Superman, I can't get out of my head. One, seeing him, that comeback scene, like D said. When he walked up to Batman and goes, "You, I remember you."
I love that part.
And then he picked him up and said, "You won't let me live. You won't let me now. You won't let me die."
I thought internet was like, "No, we don't need Momo." Talk about something.
I was asking him. No, I'll tell you. I was at that moment. I'm in the theater. I think I turned to Ann and I'm like, "You better kill him. Kill Batman." End the movie here. I'm not gonna lie to you, but like D said, if you moved Superman any more evil, I think you'd have broken the internet because all the people who complained about Superman and Man of Steel and Batman v Superman are more to complain about in this movie. And I think, again, scenes of Superman, but I don't. Superman. I wanted to see Superman like snap out of whatever it was with Lois and his mother. I want more interactions with them, but we didn't get that, and that's fine. You see, again, this movie is a team building movie, so you wanted to see the team be, coming together and solving problems and solving issues, not necessarily scenes with everyone or more scenes with everyone. I think that's counterproductive to what this movie was trying to accomplish. But yes, what I got from Superman, and that was a little OP. No, not a little. That was a lot of OP. Like,
I don't know. That
stand a chance.
That seems like standard Superman to me. I don't know what you're talking about, OP.
I mean, let's come from BVS and Man of Steel. That was OP because Steppenwolf should. I mean,
didn't he beat 3 Kryptonians in Man of Steel? 3. by himself. Didn't rookie Superman beat 3 Kryptonians in Man of Steel by himself?
No, I think he got beat.
The first 2.
He actually got beat. Yeah.
Come on,
He
man.
got
That chick whooped him.
Don't
He ain't win that fight.
This wasn't OP Superman. I don't even know what OP means. I'm just learning what OP means. But still, no. It's not overpowered Superman.
Overpowered, Lucas.
I mean, he was a little much. He was a little much because, again, my only problem with Superman in this movie is he had freeze breath.
Are you anti-freeze breath?
Why are you?
You don't want freeze breath?
No,
That's his
power.
That's the point that you have the issue.
I don't understand.
I'm just trying to understand what you meant.
It's like, did he know while he was dead? Did he dream up all these powers that he had? Like,
why wouldn't he have already known that?
I mean, is there a point where it came in handy at some point?
Do you have to show all your powers? Is that it?
Well, I mean, no. I kind of agree with Mo because the reality is, even in Smallville, even in the old Christopher Reeve, there was this moment in the Fortress of Solitude where he got an understanding of who he was. So I'm
not sure. Throw a symbol.
Before,
like he just woke up and said, "I dreamt this. I know I have these powers." Like, come on.
Nah, there's definitely something else there.
You telling me as a kid he just never blew hard and some shit like that happened? They ain't got to. Man, if y'all niggas need everything explained to y'all have another issue coming.
So,
I'm not asking for everything to be explained to me. I'm just saying.
Apparently, I don't know if this is true or not. Have y'all heard this? That the original ending was Steppenwolf was going to get killed by Darkseid, and then Darkseid was going to be the main thing, which would have made this whole fight look really. It would have been a different context to the fight because let's say the Justice League had trouble with evil Superman for like maybe 15 more minutes, and then it got into the Steppenwolf thing, and then I'm just saying, follow me. They're having trouble with Steppenwolf. Superman then can't handle Steppenwolf. But then Darkseid comes, just straight out kills Steppenwolf without any issue, where they kind of struggled. Then it would have been an extra threat, where at the point Superman shows up, there is no threat. Like there is nothing that really, makes it a struggle. I think that maybe Zack Snyder's vision in this particular case was the better version, because if you had somebody bigger, badder than Steppenwolf that actually contends with Superman, which is Darkseid usually owns Superman. So that would have been a better ending than to just see Superman come up, do everybody's job better than them, except for Cyborg, and then but there's a bigger bad that even Superman can't just one hand.
There's a big bad coming though. They already explained that there's a bigger bad coming. That they know that Steppenwolf is just one of many.
This is a contained movie.
But they retconned that. They retconned that. They removed that out of the process of everything. They changed the whole ending. And
they only mentioned Darkseid once.
Yeah. Exactly. And honestly, Chris, I actually was curious about your thoughts on Superman and the ending, your perception, because you came up with this really cool video on your channel, about like some of the deleted scenes and then some of the things that you talked about in your review. But what was from your understanding of everything that's happened with the reshoots and even with Superman, your understanding of what happened? What do you get from it, Chris?
It's me? Okay. Well, Superman, I mean, I accept all pretty much forms of Superman. Yeah, you can call it obsession. That's fine. But I liked within the story, if I took out all that Zack Snyder and Whedon cut and all that behind the scenes crap, and you just go into it and looking at the story, and if you minus out the firefighter scene, though, it's a great progression because he's from dark, he died, you're happy to be alive, you're happy to, when you're happy and when you're confident, you feel more empowered. And so you're more confident, you can take on things more, and I see him as a great a type of progression. And I thought of the firefighter scene for a second. So some people said, well, that is a Whedon cut or whatever. But if within the story, I can see that being sometime before the events of Batman v Superman, where he was helping people, and we don't get to see that part cinematically. So we never got to see that. So within the story, I think it still works well. And I just love that character, and I'm not guilty of it. I just love to see that character, and I'm actually very much agree to Mo's point about him actually getting that freeze breath. Now I think about it, is that there is no build up to it. He just is all fanboy stuff. Most of it, I think they just threw in there is like he's got a freeze breath. He can do freeze breath and all these things, and me because I'm happy to actually see it. But having it overpowered, when I said overpowered OP, I actually mean compared to the other characters, because you know it was that poster is saying you cannot save the world alone. He literally could have saved the world alone, you know. he had no problems. I mean, with Cyborg's help, he needed to pull that thing apart, and so which I really enjoyed because it shows a little bit of a teamwork effort. And I know I didn't get to speak about that Batman thing, but which they never really got to explore too much was, remember when Superman came down and he asked Bruce, what can I do? And Batman's telling, well, Flash went to save people, and this is like you have to pull these other boxes apart, which I think they could have explored a little bit more of having him tell people what to do, in which I see a part of that leadership part involved in that, which I liked as well. So that's what I think about Superman. I think it's time that he became this light, hopeful figure, because like I think it was D who mentioned that they can't have it all dark. And I don't know what I mean. That whole nightmare scene, that's gone. Zack Snyder's nightmare scene, that's totally gone. I don't think they're ever gonna go revisit that because in terms of production, WB, this is the Superman we want. They threw out that firefighter scene at the beginning of the film, so it prepares you that this is not the Superman you've seen in the last two movies. That they prepare you for that. And I've had conversations with my friends who were shocked to see that first scene right after only acknowledging that the Superman in this universe was the moody, darker version, and I mean darker lightly, moody version of him. So I think this is just a course correction. This movie, for you and I know who we all know the behind the scenes, but for other people, if they look at this now, they're like, well, he totally changed because after he died or whatever. But I believe this is a real course correction movie.
Yeah.
But I'm still interested to see the Zack Snyder version of that.
Well, see, that's actually where I'm going to go at this point. This is going to be the most controversial part of this discussion, you guys. So,
oh boy, here we go.
Just hold on, everybody. So, to Anthony's point, I completely agree with what Anthony said in the perception of how the movie would have ended had, Steppenwolf came back with his tail between his legs, beat down, and Darkseid like, okay, let me see who these mortals are because I'm a god, essentially. It would have changed the whole. It would have changed the whole dynamics of, okay, all right, you got an OP Superman. It's merited for this movie. It still works, right? But then you understand that Steppenwolf is nowhere near as strong as Darkseid. Even in the comics, even in the animateds, we all know this, but that was never implied. The other thing about this is with the reshoots as well, like Chris just said, everything about the nightmare sequence, which to me was really a premonition that the Flash gave him to help Batman understand, okay, look, when you bring Superman back from the dead, you need to understand how to stop him. Because if you do not, everything would change in his perception of his personality. And if that was removed, it was like, what was the point of even doing it? Because it's like you got the Flash. I would have thought Batman would have told everybody, like, look, I've seen these parademons before. I've seen a vision of this. I know, Diana, that this is a real threat. It's not just making these Superman. Superman's not on our side. He will be the death of us, some kind of way, some kind of possibility. I've seen this. That never got brought in because that was retconned and removed out of the movie. So the reason is that this movie, in and of itself, was completely finitely changed from the ending and from a lot of the delivery from the understanding of the story. That's why a lot of people said that the story is in. But I'm curious as to y'all's perspective from all the things that they kind of basically use BVS as a setup to this movie, that none of that got utilized and still made Justice League still a fun movie to keep all that stuff out. What if any of those things actually interconnected, specifically with Darkseid, specifically with other moments even Aquaman. Like, there's a lot of different things that were left out, and I was curious to see what are y'all's thoughts on the movie that we could have gotten and the scenes that were moving. Maybe I guess it's better just the scenes and how they interconnect.
I'd say it was loosely connected. I mean, Lois is the key. We all know that because we saw Batman v Superman. But for anybody who could just pretty much jump into this movie and say, oh, okay, well, Lois made him turn back to Superman. But the like you said, the nightmare scene, I don't say it was totally retcon, but it just has this little hints of it. And I don't know if you guys remember seeing the Heroes trailer. I think it was the Heroes trailer where you actually hear Bruce Wayne says, "I had a dream that the world's over." That's gone. That's gone. Like if he had said that and explained that nightmare, it would have made connected it better to Batman v Superman. Go ahead. I think D was trying to say something.
Personally, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I like what we got in Justice League. Because what Justice League did to me is it trimmed all the extras of BVS, all the stuff that made BVS a very chunky, draggy movie sometimes. Again, hold on. I love the movie, but it dragged at some points. And anyone who likes a movie can at least admit that that movie has faults. Batman v Superman did have some faults, and one of them was it dragged. What Justice League did was take away a lot of the stuff that wasn't super necessary, because honestly, look, but it wasn't super necessary for that movie. And with Justice League not referencing that, I think that was perfect, because then you'd have to again address the fact that this is how I'm going to set this up. This movie, as a lot of people want to say, this is a Zack Snyder movie. It's not. You can say the visual style or some of the visual style is a Zack Snyder movie, but the main parts of it, the meat of it, is not a Zack Snyder movie. And so if Warner Brothers was positioning this movie to be their course correct, as Chris said, this is supposed to be our course correct, then to be retconned. A lot of things have to be dropped. And Nightmare Scene, unfortunately, is one of them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Superman's resurrection, this is just as what we got. And I think taking away some of the extra scenes, and to Anthony's point, the dark side invasion would have just been a lot of extra stuff that this movie did not need. Again, this is supposed to be, a lot of people have seen this movie and said, course correct, course correct. If you have those scenes, you're not correcting anything. No matter how many changes you have in the movie, you're not correcting anything. And Snyder, I like him. I like him as a cinematographer. I like some of his movies. But Warner Brothers was trying to tell the critics that we hear you. You don't like Zack Snyder. And so for our movie to do well, we have to kind of distance ourselves from Zack. And so when they took a lot of Zack scenes out of this movie, and they took a lot of what he set up in BVS out of this movie, they were telling you that, man, we're not, we've heard you. His name is on the movie, but that's about it. And I don't mind what I got. Again, it's still a very fun film. It's now, instead of Batman v Superman setting up DCEU, Justice League is that setup movie. And I especially like the end of the movie with the second credit scene, with the end credit scene, with the setup for the Injustice League. I think that's a better villain in Justice League movie. You set up Lex Luthor as, I think Lucas made this point on one of our podcasts, that you set up Lex Luthor as the Samuel L. Jackson with Nick Fury for the bad guys, where he goes to recruit, he goes to recruit the villains from everyone else's movies. It's a better setup for Justice League 2. You can show him in the end credit of, say, like Wonder Woman 2, recruiting, if it's Cheetah, he could recruit Cheetah. Or you show him at the end of Aquaman, if it's Orm or
Black Manta,
he recruits them. I think that's how this works. And I feel like that's a better built universe than getting Darkseid in the second movie. And then when you get the third movie, you've built this movie up because, again, if you can now touch back on BVS where Lex communicated with Steppenwolf to say, hey, Superman is dead, you can come now.
Yeah, that's true.
Fails in Justice League 2. You still have that bit of Batman v Superman where he communicated with still now communicate with Darkseid and be like, yo, okay, look, man, I tried. It's your turn.
Wow. No, that's actually really
that was really good. That was
because
really
what I think about that now is I think about Justice League Doom. Because that plays into kind of what Lucas was saying, the metamorphosis of Batman, thinking he knows everything, that he's a certain kind of way. And imagine if, even though he recruited all these guys, he's had contingencies that he's made up for every single one of them, right? And then Lex Luthor catches wind of that and uses that against him with every single person that he recruits is specifically tailored to Bruce's designs. And indeliberately, the Injustice League goes and attacks all of the Justice League. That would actually be really dope. And then that would follow into, like you said, his Lex's trump card, which is Darkseid. This is still an actual threat. No, that's actually really dope, Mo.
Thank you for saying and stealing my idea. Not stealing my ideas, literally stealing my words, Mo. You didn't steal my ideas. You literally stole all my words.
I mean, really.
I literally said,
I said this on another podcast to the T. And he was like,
Lucas said,
everything Lucas said.
And you know how that went too. You know how that went too. He's like, Luke, you made a good point. I'm gonna say everything you fucking say from here on out.
Yeah, exactly. But before Jonathan goes, I don't want to interrupt Jonathan. I just got to get this off my chest because this shit's gonna irritate me. First things first. Everybody is right. This is a course correct film. Fuck everything that happened in BVS. You cannot make people draw back to a movie people hate it. If you make them draw back to a movie people hate it, there is no way in hell they're going to care about anything you do moving forward. Mm-hmm. So that's why they cut everything out. For everybody who's thinking also that the cut with Josh Whedon happened later after Zack Snyder's daughter passed away, I'm not going to say my comment that may have been the best thing to happen to this universe. Not going to say that. But,
oh my God.
That's cold-blooded as hell if you did.
Yes, it is. I did. I said that multiple times too. But
he said it on the podcast.
That's not the point. That's not the point of it.
On the billboard if he could. I don't know why y'all.
I don't know why y'all are surprised here because here's the issue with Warner Brothers. If BVS would have come out before they started pre-production on Justice League, Zack Snyder would have been nowhere around for Justice League. He was only there because pre-production had already started, and it started with him. And they thought we can't scrap it all together. So they brought 6 different people in to course correct while he was shooting the movie. They have no faith in him, nor should they, because he can't direct people. He can only shoot movies. He can't direct shit. He does not have that ability. He's an awesome cinematographer. He needs to shoot movies, not try to direct people. And that's part of the issue that Justice League has, because I can pinpoint the scenes where these actors are not getting direction and they're just going off on their own and doing shit against when Josh comes in and is like, no, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this because we're setting up things. Last point I'm going to make about Darkseid. For anyone who thinks this would have been better if you put Darkseid at the end of this movie and showing that Steppenwolf is not powerful, you basically just gave them and made a Marvel movie. Because I'll be goddamned if that's just a Thanos with Kane the Conqueror and Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the same fucking thing. You don't do that. That's stupid. You killed. If they would have done that in Justice League, you killed your universe after the second Justice League movie because who the fuck is a threat after you get rid of him? No one else is. Right. They perfectly set up their universe going forward. That's why you don't need to see Darkseid. That's why you only hear his name once. Because again, once you have an overarching bad guy, fuck everybody else. How are they actually a threat? Why would you care about that?
Well, I think Darkseid,
even with Superman, or people saying that Superman is overpowered in this movie. In this universe, Superman is not overpowered because I saw Lex Luthor completely control him with no issue. Because in this universe, this Superman is still new. He can be outfought in everything he does. The power doesn't matter, and I think that's the point of them moving forward with Superman.
Is he still new?
Superman is not good. Yeah, because in this movie, he's still only been doing this for like a year and a half, 2 years.
This has only been 2 years?
This is only 6 months removed from BVS. BVS is only like, a year? Not even a full year removed from Man of Steel. all of this is still in that same time period. But
all right,
the whole goal of them showing Superman as being overpowered is because, to me, you need to show him being overpowered because eventually they're going to show him being outsmarted. And showing that all that power you have, and I think Lex may have said it in BVS, something about all that power you have means nothing because I can still control you. And that's what they want to do with Superman, even though Superman will never get a solo movie again. But moving forward, that's how they're going to portray Superman. Oh, he's Hulk now. Sorry, I know that. He's Hulk.
I mean, that'll be
never get another solo movie.
for Brainiac, though, actually.
So Wonder Woman was basically a Marvel movie too, and it worked. And I think that, again, I get that you don't like going back to mediums, but the whole alien invasion, bad guy at the end, Justice League cartoon pretty much did the Avengers movie on their series. These ideas get cycled over, but it's a way that team movies can be used, and you can make them fresher. The way I understood the Zack Snyder movie planned for Darkseid and Steppenwolf was a little different than Darkseid just smiling at the camera. It was him actually showing his dominance in that part. And even in the new Mo, you might be able to correct me in this. In the new 52, didn't Superman was dominating everything on Earth, and he went off a planet and got whooped, and some guy told him to stay on Earth and sent him back?
Dude, Steppenwolf beat Superman. Maybe not on Earth 1, but on Earth 2, Steppenwolf killed the Trinity.
Yeah, killed the Trinity.
So Steppenwolf,
So there was scenes where you can show how powerful Superman is, and then show that like Lucas said, he's still new, he's still raw. He's playing in a small pond at this point. I think that again with the overpoweredness, it's how can I say this? If there is no agency at the end of the movie where you think there's a chance, like even if you know, the good guy wins, if the bad guy never had a chance, Steppenwolf never had a chance. Superman just pretty much, this guy's still bothering you, and just knocked him out. And I get everybody wants to see the power of Superman. I have no problem with him taking on the whole Justice League. Like I think one of my favorite moments in the movie, action moments in the movie, was when the Flash tried to go around Superman and he just showed that eye. Because I think even while you were watching it, you knew that was about to happen. When you saw his eye just shift and you saw Flash's reaction, I was talking to fans of Flash. I was like, no, Superman shouldn't be faster than Flash. This is a baby Flash. This Flash is still crawling. Now later on, we're gonna get that scene where he's like, they were all for charity, Clark, and speed off. But right now, that's completely fine. That's completely fine for where he is right now.
So can I ask a quick question, because you're the person with. I'm not gonna ever refer to comic books, so I'm just gonna refer to the movie. When Steppenwolf comes to Earth because there's no Kryptonian there, that itself told me that Superman could destroy him by himself.
I'm not talking about.
That's what I mean. No. That's what I mean
logic.
By him. No, not comic logic. I'm talking about in the movie when he comes to Earth because his threat is gone. Because that to me told me exactly why Superman was able to beat him easily. Because Superman is his threat, and he only came because he knew Superman was.
So if it was at the very end, and it was a what do you call it, Deus Ex Machina type thing, like if they thought that the resurrection, like when I was sitting next to you, Lucas, and you were like, this resurrection, you said this resurrection isn't going to work, and you were shocked when his eyes popped back open.
No, not that it was not that part.
No, this is what you said. You said they're going to think it doesn't work, and you were shocked when his eyes popped back open that second because it was the tail end of your sentence. Not say you were wrong because that would make more sense than the beat. What I'm saying is at the end of a movie, at the end of a story. If there is if Voldemort is just pimp slap for no reason, if you have the main bad guy of your story there have no chance, you know what I mean? If there's no struggle, it kind of takes away from the ending of the movie. That's my whole point with having somebody bigger than him there. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the movie, I just didn't feel Superman showed up and he didn't show that there would be any issue at this point. And the movie didn't end. It went on for like another 10 minutes. So that was my issue with it. Maybe y'all didn't feel the same thing.
Stinger. So you're just basically saying you just wanted a stinger at the end of the movie. That's really what it's saying. You just wanted a bum at the end of the movie. That's really what it's more like.
No, I wanted struggle.
But you couldn't get struggle from a character who openly admits that he is no match for a Kryptonian.
Exactly.
But that's kind of
tells
lame.
you, he lets you know
Say that it's kind of lame when you sit there and when you sit there and preface yourself like, well, I'm already weak because of Kryptonian. It's like, damn, that's kind of like.
Hey, he let you know from the beginning of the movie. Like literally, he came to that planet.
And what he said was,
He never really said that in the movie, though. He said that in the trailer.
And in the trailer, he said there's no Kryptonians, no lanterns. He killed a lantern in that beginning movie. He killed a couple of the gods, from what we understand. He fought the Amazonians and all those armies.
In the movie, there's no Kryptonian.
So,
he never said that in the movie. Yeah,
but that was thousands of years ago when he actually beat them. He is old. He was not in the same condition that he actually was when
he was battle tested. Well, not battle tested, battle ruined.
And what he said to Motherbuck, I understand why you brought me back. There's no, and in the trailer he said no lanterns. I think in the movie, did he just say Kryptonians?
But here's the thing: when it comes to the whole argument,
yes, in the movie he said, "Mother, I know why you brought me back here."
But why bring up what he said in the trailer? To me, that doesn't make any sense. That's like me getting mad.
I didn't bring it up. Y'all brought it up.
That's like, no, I'm just saying.
No. Me getting the movie.
That's like me getting mad at Homecoming because I didn't see Iron Man and Spider-Man fly through the city. That's on that same level.
That's not what I'm arguing.
No. I'm saying in the movie he said, "Mother, I understand why you brought me back."
My debate is there's no struggle at the end of the movie.
I'm about to say,
so it's anticlimactic.
You said that in the movie with the mother
about other stuff. I'm saying it's anticlimactic. That's all I'm saying. It was anticlimactic to me.
Okay, so let's do this so we can kind of draw this out and finish it out.
Talk, man.
What is
I'm
your
gonna say Jonathan still had a point, Sam. You just interrupted Jonathan.
Okay,
I didn't even get to say my point yet either.
You say nothing.
Oh man, but okay, so I guess I have the floor. All right, so what can I say in what I got from this movie? I said I was happy with what we got. I was, upset with a few minor things, and like, sure, some side characters were supposed to be in the movie. Like, I know people could address this a lot. Like, William Dafoe was supposed to be in the movie. He wasn't there. Like Iris was cut from the movie. She wasn't there either. Even though there's a deleted scene. I saw the deleted scene with her in it, and I know a whole lot of stuff was cut. I feel like, we were robbed again from what was supposed to be something we've been looking forward to for like almost, I would say, our entire childhood, for most of us. Now, I'm piggybacking on what Mo said with the ending scene, and I like this, and I love where he's going with this, because this is also tracing back to to what Dwayne McDuffie was doing when he was working on Justice League and Justice League Doom. He's setting up points with like introducing Lex and Deathstroke to create the Injustice League, or hopefully, who knows, they might be even called the Legion of Doom. You never know. I feel like they might go with Legion of Doom just to feel nostalgic. And I'm thinking for that second movie, you build up to when Darkseid finds out, like, oh, it's my time to attack Earth. And then when you feel like, you get to the third movie, this might work or might not. I feel like you could put having the League and, the Legion working together against Darkseid. Kind of like what they did in the finale of Justice League Unlimited. But back to talking about Justice League as a whole. Yes, I felt like we were robbed, but the outcome to me was still okay. I wasn't mad with, certain things. I was, the only main thing was going in my mind was like, is Green Lantern in this movie? No, we didn't get Green Lantern, but we got a Green Lantern. And I was satisfied with that. So I was pretty much completely satisfied with everything that we got in this movie. I wasn't upset. I wasn't one of those guys that was like, felt like, yo, we were robbed of everything. Like, what kind of crap was this? Like, what happened here? I was down with it 100%.
Cool. Well, I guess I'll finish up because I got to go pick up my two kids. But I agree with you. I am happy with the movie, even though I had some issues. It's not like I will hate on the movie or anything. I did love Batman v Superman, loved and Man of Steel, and I love this movie. It's just a great time to see Justice League for the first time. Just blown away when you watch it, and I'm like, are they actually on the screen? I might pinch myself. I'm like, am I actually watching this movie? Like, seriously, is Justice League just came out, and I'm just still happy about it. I know there's the critics thing and everything, but I mean, that's just drawn out, washed out right now, and I'm just happy that Superman got a happy ending because he was gonna marry Lois. His mom is happy. His son's back alive. So emotionally, for me, I'm just super happy, and I hope it just continues on. But I do agree about the dark side thing. If that would have been crazy great if you actually see like in one of the post credits something like a Thanos thing where this is your just to show that this is your overarching enemy from here on out, dark side. And I think what was the scene there? He was gonna kill Steppenwolf or something.
Yeah,
I forgot what the leak scene.
that's
Yeah,
what they
so
implied.
yeah, so if that is seen and then boom, he's dead, and he looks at the screen or whatever, and it has the eye glowing, that would have been like killer. I'd be like, oh my god, they're setting up Darkseid, and have him not get killed off in this movie because that's just that would be terrible. So having him the overarching, he's the Thanos. They're gonna have their own version of the Infinity War. I'd be that would have been totally awesome.
And Chris, I appreciate you for coming, man. Before you leave, do you mind giving us your negative on the movie? We haven't gotten to negatives at all. So,
okay.
I mean, we haven't talked about the mustache, haven't talked about any of the negatives. So, before
the mustache is
mind giving us your negatives, and then what do you see with the DCU moving forward? Those two things, and then you can head out, man.
So as a disclaimer, I did love the movie, but there are the negatives. The CG mustache, pretty much what everybody's had little bit of negatives about. Steppenwolf CGI, yeah, that could have been a little bit better, but I think if a little bit more time, they could have really done it. I mean, look at Zod's armor. That was CGI. I mean, if they had that much time on that, they could have gotten Steppenwolf looking pretty badass, looking real, like actual figure in the screen. I did feel in the beginning it was quick pace, but I think that actually works out for this. They were trying to make it a simple story, so that's fine. I don't like Danny Elfman's music. I rather have Hans Zimmer. I appreciate it. My nostalgic person likes the Superman score and the Batman score because that's just pure nostalgia because I grew up for those types of music. But the other ones are kind of forgettable. So I was wishing there's a little bit more better music on that. I love all the characters, like I already said, character interaction. So for me, all the positives outweigh the negatives. So in the long run, after you watch it a little bit more, I start to forget about the negatives and watch it for what it is. Like how my kids enjoy it. Just wash out all the behind the scenes stuff and just enjoy it for what it is. From here on forth, I mean, I really want to see it go further out. I really want them to continue this. Don't reboot it. I'm excited for Aquaman, but not as much as Shazam because I feel like Superman's gonna be Shazam. Hopefully that's the case. Pony Smash David Sandberg has been talking about it, hinting at Superman in his Instagram. So I'm really hoping to see that. But I think there's gonna be a lot more solo films here and out, and then hopefully Justice League 2. But I'm really waiting to see that Brainiac, Superman, more Superman sequels. Hopefully we'll get more of that. So that's what.
Nice. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you for coming back, man.
All right. Thanks for inviting me. I'll see you guys later.
No problem.
All right, buddy. Take care, man.
Chris. Nice meeting you.
All right. I guess okay, so for me, negatives, like, okay, the whole Superman mustache thing, I didn't even know that was a big of a deal. I didn't even know what that was until like people brought it up. So I can scratch that off the negative list. I feel like, yes, Steppenwolf's CGI could have been done a little bit better. I would say, like, keep the CGI aesthetics for the parademons. So that because the parademons look spot on, like straight up spot on to me. And I feel like the side characters, like, Commissioner Gordon and Mara, I mean, they had their fair share of introduction into this universe, but not enough. Like, Gordon only got like 3 scenes, him in the GCPD, him on the rooftop talking with the League, and then at the end of the movie where he turns on the signal again. Mara, we only see her for like 2 to 5 minutes, just like 2 lines of dialogue, and that's it. So I feel like that was my kind of backdrop with negatives in this movie. But where do I see the DC EU going forward? I'm actually excited, yet at the same time worried, because they have so much planned. Like for their planned schedule, they're good, but for their other stuff, like their planned Nightwing movie, their Batgirl movie, their second Suicide Squad movie, the Black Adam solo film, I'm like, you're putting all this stuff out there and you're not sticking to what you have currently. I would say work with what you have now and get to that stuff later, because if you're just going to keep putting that stuff out, to me, you're raising my hope. You're bringing my hopes up. And I'm the kind of person that's, a sucker for like awesome stuff. Like once I heard a Nightwing movie is happening, lit, that's awesome. And then a Batgirl movie, like, okay, I can see that. But now you're bringing my hopes up, and at the same time, you're scaring me, because if you're gonna attempt to do that, people are gonna think that's what you're gonna go for, and then you do that, it could become a discombobulated mess. I'm not saying they're trying to be like Marvel. I know that's not what they're doing, but they shouldn't just put stuff out there and then just leave it to like on the sidelines, especially with, the Batman movie. It's been announced Matt Reeves is directing it, and we haven't heard anything since that. And of course, we keep getting these rumors like, oh, Ben Affleck is going to leave playing Batman. I'm sick and tired of hearing that rumor. Like, every time I hear it, it just sickens me. So I'm curious to see where they attempt to go forward, because right now, for me, the most movie I'm looking forward to right now is Aquaman and Green Lantern Corps, because I'm really itching to see how they could redo Green Lantern again. That's just me.
Shoot. All right. I think I go next. What I didn't like, real quick, I absolutely love the movie. I actually did. I really did. I don't have too many complaints, but I do have some. I didn't notice the mustache thing, and when I finally did notice, I got to be honest with you, I laughed for a solid 10 minutes because it really legit made me laugh. I'm like, holy shit, they really CGI'd out. It felt like, here's the funny thing, as much as I think they got stuff fleshed out, and I can tell that stuff got cut out, and I'm glad they didn't put it in there is stuff that needs to be explored. It's obvious, and I don't disagree with anybody that says they didn't go into this, they didn't go into that. I don't disagree with anybody on that feeling, because I feel that same way. But at the same time, I feel if they did that, it would have destroyed a lot of what they did right and what they set up correctly. And I don't know, it's kind of weird. I didn't like some of the dialogue, but that's minor. It's very minor. The CGI though was fine. There were a couple of parts, and it actually wasn't Steppenwolf that threw me off. I as much as I thought the Parademons looked good, there were some scenes with them where it's like, ugh, I don't know, it threw me off. And then again, there's some physics that they do where it's like bullshit, but it's CGI. I don't get too hung up on it. It's just CGI. But it was really just nitpicky things that I didn't like about the film. And as far as the DCU, oh God, WB needs to shut up. Just stop talking. Just stop talking. Because
right.
Because as a person that I love comic book movies, period. And I hate how a lot of this just splits everybody in two. Like, because Marvel is so good at movies, therefore they're the best, and therefore we can wag our dicks in front of everybody's faces and we can act like dickheads. And then we got people on the other side who are DC fans like, no, Batman versus Superman is the best thing. It's like, shut up, because I hate it. I hate how the fans react, and it just really soured a lot of what I felt going into the movie. So besides that, I think really WB needs to stop talking, because all it does is feed those people. They just feed everything negative, and they don't know how. And me and CJ were talking about it. We actually were like, they need somebody there just like, look, don't let rumors go through. Don't let this go through. Don't let that slip up. Don't feed into what that one article's saying. Don't let that. a lot of the stuff, a lot of the problems that WB has faced, and even Justice League itself has faced, is in self-inflicted. If you know, we all heard the term shooting yourself in the foot. Well, to be honest with you, if you look down, if you're WB, there is no foot because you shot it off at this point, and it makes it feel like everything they have done, it makes it feel like everything they have done to set up to set up a decent movie. We're not trying to make Avengers. We're not trying to make this next thing. We're just trying to make a movie that you want to go and see. They ruined it. They ruined a lot of it. And that's why I hate a lot of the criticism that's coming out about this movie, because now the nitpicky stuff that shouldn't worry you is now like a big thing. Could you imagine, like in Batman Returns, when Batman couldn't move his neck because the cowl couldn't move? Could you imagine if that happened in the internet day with WB the way they act today? That would be they wouldn't get off of it. That would ruin the whole movie for everybody. So I just hate how I guess the studio and everything going as far as the universe setting itself up, I'm optimistic. I'm not on pins and needles like, oh man, I can't wait for that Flash movie to come out, even though I am ready for the Cyborg movie because I really want them to dive into it. I really thought Homeboy who plays Cyborg was really good, but I really want to see them explore a lot of that. So there are some things that I'm excited for, and then again, there's some things where I really don't care. Like I love Batman to death. I got a Batman shirt on right now, but real talk, I don't care for another movie. I really don't. But whatever. But I'm optimistic, and optimistic is about as best as you're going to get out of me when it comes to this universe. So that's my piece.
I guess I could go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I guess. No, it's cool, Anthony. You know you want to
go. I'll keep it short. I like this movie both times. No matter how many times I say I have a problem with it, I enjoyed it. Mo was next to me or near me when no, I was right next to because Mo creamed his pants like twice. So
whoa, TMI.
I enjoyed the movie for all the things I thought flaws on it, all the mismatch. I want these movies to be a medium where they appreciate it, and I think D said some stuff when he was talking about the DC versus Marvel stuff. Both these companies want both of them to succeed. You know what I mean? Kevin Feige said it a couple of times that he wants their comic movies to do well too, because anything that brings down the genre negatively affects them all. But for years we had, DC did great animated movies, where Marvel animated movies were really lame for most of it. Different time periods, they had different shows. Take the bias out of it, just make really good movies. I enjoyed this. For all my nitpicks, I think that's what they are. They might be, some of them might be blaring in my mind, but I hope that they don't let. Lucas is better at this than I am, but I hope they don't let the fact that they didn't have the opening weekend they expect shake them, because I feel like they've been really reactionary, and I think D said this really right. That they shoot themselves in the foot. They get shook about, oh my gosh, the fans like this, but they didn't like this. Just make a good product. Come up with a plan, outline it, do it. Don't worry about what Marvel's doing. Don't worry about if you had to, go in a different direction with a different director. Get the lady that directed Wonder Woman to do some of these things, more of these movies, if that's what works for you, or get Ben Affleck to run it. There's good stuff here. I'm really hopeful that if they have some more faith, because they've already invested so much money into this, you're going in a good direction. I think that fans who really want to give DC a chance, you can't hate on this movie with some of the scores and go with some of the critics just because you were divisive with the other ones in the past. So yeah, I'm hopeful for it. I think that we can finally get to where we can just go and just, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see the next one or next chapter of this. I think we can get there.
All right. If there's anything I have to complain about this movie about, is the fact that benefited if they pushed it back. If they said, you know what? But then again, that's more money, and I figured WB says, look, we could spend 30 million, however much we want to spend, reshoot, do the reshoots and do changes now. I believe they knew they were going to take an L at some point with this movie, because everything about this movie, we've all said it screams course correction. Everything about this movie screams we want to get it right for the fans and we want to get it right for the critics. There are fans out there who complain, hey, I have not liked Superman in any of the other two movies, and every one of them that I've talked to have changed their minds in Justice League. There are fans who love Superman and Man of Steel BVS who say today, forget Justice League Superman. Look, at the end of the day, this is what my message to comic book community is. You love these characters and you love the property, not the company, not Warner Brothers. So don't care about Warner Brothers. Support your characters. Support the characters. If you've waited, I think we said this in our spoiler review, Lucas and I. If you've waited all your life, 20, 25, some odd years, you've waited for this, complaining because somehow something is wrong. Like, then how much of a fan are you? Like, how much did you want to see this happen? Your life. This should be the moment that I think Chris said it. He was like, "Is this a Justice League on the screen? I'm watching these." It's like, and I think Jonathan said it too. It looked like he was watching his Saturday morning cartoons, because that's how I felt. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw Justice League the first night, I was like, I just woke up in my room on a Saturday morning and turned on Cartoon Network, and Justice League came on. That's how I felt. This movie made me feel like that. And if you still, every complaint that I have about this movie, like, where did Superman get freeze breath from, is a nitpick. His mustache is a nitpick, because that shouldn't take you out of the movie. I mean, let's be honest. There's so many things you can pick out of this, but if as a fan and as someone who's wanted to see this genre progress and who wants to see the DCEU progress, this point should make you happy, because this is, in a sense, the most funny enough. This movie is divisive in a different way from Batman v Superman and Man of Steel were divisive. This is not
divisive.
Divisive. I'm sorry, I say divisive, but this movie is not as divisive. It's divisive in its own separate way, where it's like it's divisive amongst the core fans and not, these basic fans, the TV and the movie fans. This is not. Those guys love this movie. The people who don't like the movie are the core, DC fans, which again kind of pains me, because if you've been waiting for a movie like this, on this, like, where does that harshness and the bitterness come from? Is it because Zack Snyder didn't do it? Like, is that what it is to you at this point? Like, come on, man, get over it. Like Batman said, look, at the end of the day, where the DCU has positioned itself for this movie, I am excited. I'm excited for the Flash movie. I'm more excited for, like D said, for that Cyborg movie, because if we can get Ray Fisher back to do another Cyborg movie, I want to see his backstory. I want to see him moving forward. Hopefully they clean up his more, because the CG at some points was a little wonky, but he again is the best cyborg in any medium, comic book, TV, animated show, animated movie. He's the best cyborg in any medium ever, because Cyborg, the one we got in Smallville, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm excited for the future of these movies. Shazam as much, but that'd be fun to see. I mean, that should be a fun direction from that. Shazam should feel like Thor Ragnarok. It should feel exactly like Thor Ragnarok at this point. But I'm excited for the future of these movies. Again, the two characters coming off this movie that I want to see, Cyborg, and I don't know how I feel about Superman yet. So yeah, that's it for me. Like, come on, fans, let's relax, watch this movie, enjoy the movie you got. If you don't get a Zack Snyder cut, okay, that's not the end of the world. Get over it. That's it.
Lucas and CJ, negatives, and then thoughts on the future.
I guess I shut it down. It's okay. Don't got to go no more.
No, I was waiting. I was waiting for CJ to go ahead and go, because is CJ still on? I guess not. So I'm gonna go first. Mo, Eventually, you just got to name me your Ghost Rider because you're not going to keep on repeating shit I've already said.
Lucas, if you don't stop, bro, this is not the medium. if
you don't stop drinking my shit, we're gonna have such a problem. But let me first say,
I don't know, man. I'd
I'm about to say
a little bit more.
All y'all gotta do, if anybody don't believe me, just listen to Earth 2 Comic Cast spoiler review of Justice League. Everything Mo just said, I said that. But let's be on the point. Let me get into this real quick.
You see, okay.
Let me get into this real quick.
Right.
Negatives for me for Justice League is any point in time where I can tell that Zack Snyder had directed a portion of the film. I'm not going to say how many times I could tell, but I could clearly tell. All that shit is negative to me because, again, I know the difference between a good director and a bad director. Shit. And whenever he directs certain scenes, I see it, and Jones is fucking horrible. But as a movie, it is still good. Again, I judge these movies on a different scale than everyone else. So on my scale, it's still a decent movie. It showed enough promise. It is the course correct that I think everybody here has said before. This is X-Men First Class, not Avengers, for anybody who, for some odd reason, compares these two universes to each other. And where we see DC going forward, I'm going to first say all the negative information coming out about DC, all this information coming out about Warner Brothers, I'm not going to blame Warner Brothers for it. I'm going to blame every single one of you little fucks who love these movies because you all click on shit that people put out there for you to fucking click on. This shit is not coming for Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers puts out one release. Hey, we're doing this movie. And then next thing you know, you get 50 fucking stories that y'all clicking on. Once you stop clicking on the stories go away because same shit happens with Star Wars repeatedly. The difference is people who love Star Wars don't click on those fucking stories. You fuckers who love this genre of film, it's like you're looking to compare this shit together. Why the fuck would you do that? This is one genre. Understand, if DC fails, they all fail. Matter of fact, fuck that if DC fails. Eventually, all of this shit is going away. You got a good 3 to 4 more years to enjoy it. Enjoy it while you can. Because the oversaturation of this market is clearly hit, and it's going to be fucking horrible by 2019. Enjoy it. Don't let the fucking other YouTube bloggers and shit poison your mind to make you think, man, Warner Brothers don't know what they're doing. Warner Brothers have given you stories like, hey, we're doing this movie, we're doing this movie, we're doing this movie. Then you get 80 stories about how they're doing this movie. As Jonathan said, you get stories, Ben Affleck is quitting. At no point did he say that shit, but it makes clickbait and you all click on it. Don't feed into the negativity that's going to destroy your hopes and dreams. Yeah. And don't play Marvel versus DC. Fuck both. For me, personally, as I always say, I'm not part of this genre. I don't fucking care. But I do understand because I compare it to the horror movie genre. You don't see any horror movie fans that, but fuck Michael Myers because I like Freddy. No, it's a genre. You like all of them. Enjoy this shit. Where's DC going forward with? I see DC doing something that to separate itself from Marvel, which is you're going to get a lot of solo films, a lot of them, way before you get another Justice League film. Like, you're going to get Aquaman. Right after Aquaman, you're going to get Wonder Woman, and then you're probably going to get Shazam. And then I'm assuming around that sometime you're going to get that Batgirl movie because at this point, DC feels, and I think it's the smartest thing to do in a realm of making movies. Build everything around solo stuff. It's solo stuff only. You establish your Justice League already. Some of this stuff moving forward has promise because DC does a great job. Even though I fucking hate Man of Steel, I can openly admit that Christopher Nolan and that team that was behind it, that actually was behind it, not Zack Snyder, because fuck him, but the team that was actually behind Man of Steel did a decent job of setting up a solo movie. And that's their strength right now. They do not do good when they have to put multiple characters together to try to make a film because they have yet to find the right director that can pull that off. They have him at Warner Brothers. They just don't have enough money to ask Christopher Nolan to come and actually do that. That's fine. moving forward with their universe, though, as long as those solo movies are strong, you all should be happy. This shit should be awesome. Y'all should love this shit. Stop fucking comparing everything to everything. And y'all only do this shit with DC and Marvel, because I don't hear none of you motherfuckers comparing Fox, who have decided to step outside the box and do something completely different. Y'all don't crush them for it, but if DC don't do exactly what Marvel does, you all crush it as a genre. That's going to be your problem. Just enjoy yourselves, enjoy these films, because again, man, they on the clock. Enjoy them while they're here.
Mm.
Wow, that was actually profound.
Luke, I agree with you, but I agree with you, bro, 100%. But Christopher Nolan can keep his pretentious ass wherever the fuck he at.
Hey, dude, if Christopher Nolan does a team-up movie for DC, did you know the attention to detail of every one of those fucking characters?
Oh my god, man!
Let's not even think about something on that grand of a scale.
Actually, I would say, Jonathan, don't say that you're never going to have, because Christopher Nolan has a very long-term contract with Warner Brothers. He actually can't really say no to them if they ask him to do something.
You know.
I'm not saying he shouldn't do it, but it's just like thinking about something like that on that grand of a scale.
But you're thinking about it. In all honesty, I'm telling you to think about it 3 to 4 years from now. Enjoy this while you have it now. Enjoy this shit. Because again, it's not going to be here forever. I just don't like you all comparing one universe to the next. No other genre does that to each other but this one. And it's because of the fanboys and them fake ass bloggers who are trying to kill y'all hopes and dreams. If y'all don't fucking see that by now, how
what about Star Wars and Star Trek?
You can tell they don't do it with Star Wars, because Rogue One had 10 times the amount of problems that fucking Justice League had, including $50 million of reshoots and replacing the director.
I don't
replace the director.
Star Wars and Star Trek fans have been doing this a lot longer than DC and Marvel.
Huh? No one brought up that Rogue One they cut the director in the middle of filming it, and then threw $50 million more into it. They only tried to pay attention kinda when Han Solo switched, but you see that shit went away quick. But everything else,
maybe we're talking about two different things.
Really quick because
we're talking about two different things.
That universe and those core audiences, you may hear complaints for a week. They move on. Because the think pieces.
Oh, you mean to this level? The
think pieces that come out about this universe, and again, I am not just talking about DC, because the same fucking shit happens with Marvel, where if one slight thing goes wrong, 80 think pieces come out about it. Why?
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
You know why they do it? Because you all in this genre as a generation is paying attention to these bloggers, to this social media shit. If it was me and I was making money off of it, I would do the exact same thing. But y'all gotta have self-control and know not to click on the shit. Don't dwell on it. I tell Sam that shit all the time because Sam gets highly frustrated over shit. And I would tell Sam in a heartbeat, hey, why are you paying attention to that? That shit don't matter. None of it matters. Don't let it cloud your judgment and take away your joy. Damn it, this world is bad enough without taking away joy from you for shit that you should like.
Nah, man, he's right.
Nah, he's actually completely right.
So this is why me and Lucas are spirit brothers, man. Shit like this. This is exactly why. Thank you, Lucas. You said everything else I wanted to say. Thank you, bro.
Yeah. So I guess I'll end out my negatives on the movie. I don't really. It's like I'm nitpicking, man. It's evident to me that Paramount is definitely being petty. You know what I'm saying, and not letting Henry Cavill shave his mustache. That's just petty, because they could have just put a fake mustache on the man. But I mean, I think that cost Warner Brothers some money to try to sit there and CG him out. The first scene in the movie, it was very jarring, only because what Lucas said. I fed into the market. I fed into all these certain things that were just hitting me with like, oh man, look at all the CG they're doing with his mustache. I wouldn't have even known if I hadn't been paying attention. I'm saturated in because I'm a part of that, as far as a blogger, as far as a YouTuber. And so as soon as I saw the first scene, I was like, oh man, this movie's gonna be bad. Oh man, that CG looks terrible. Then I'm sitting there watching Cyborg and just like in awe, you know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I definitely say that the CG with Superman, there's a lot of different scenes that I can tell are reshoots and that should have been polished a lot better in comparison to how they've been able to do things in the past. But it's kind of like a really big nitpick because at the end of the day, I still had a fun time with my characters. I would have liked to get a little bit more context to the characters as far as like Aquaman, as far as Cyborg specifically. I think that Barry Allen, he's got his own movie moving forward. It'd be interesting to see like a Christopher Nolan connected to somebody else for Flashpoint. That would be freaking insane. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that to Lucas's point, you never know what might happen. But as far as Steppenwolf being a weak villain, what superhero villain isn't weak? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know what villain I've seen that has been like directly perfect. I think that they use Steppenwolf for the purpose of this movie of bringing these people together. Now, it would have been interesting to platform them to show another threat, to just kind of like, all right, there's something else there, but we're not going to talk about that. That wasn't really mentioned. And I think that the real negative that I have about the film came before I even watched the film. Mm-hmm. I already believed in my heart that at a certain point, it's like, lower your expectations, it's not going to be a good movie. Like, I believed that in my heart, even though I was hoping for the best. Like, it was like, some parts of me was like, WB doesn't care about the characters. The DC fans are never going to get, the epic movie they want. It was never like, all right, I'm about to really, like, kind of like what Chris was saying, like Krista left. Like, I can't believe my characters are going to be coming to life right in front of me. It wasn't until I did like a 54-minute, like, spill about everything that could go negative or positive with Justice League that I really was just like, all right, I'm going to just try to enjoy it. That's why the second time watching it, I really enjoyed it because I had already had in my head self-defeat. And I think a lot of people didn't go see the movie because they were like, this is going to suck. And a lot of the media, like Lucas said, has put you in this place of not having fun with it. Like all the joy about watching it, even if you watched it or even if you haven't watched it yet, all the joy about trying to go see it is gone. You know what I'm saying? And that happens now, even for me with Marvel and DC, like Lucas says, because I'm like, why are you judging this movie? Like, I'm going to start judging your movie, and it shouldn't be that way. This was an enjoyable time that you can definitely take any kid to see, and it platforms every single character perfectly in some shape or form. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Superman moving forward. But I think that the Flashpoint movie could be an interesting new take depending on who the director is going to be. I'm more interested in Flashpoint than I am Wonder Woman or Aquaman, but I think that to Lucas's point, that they're going to definitely concentrate on a lot of solo films and a lot of Elseworld kind of scenarios. And I think that the Elseworld scenarios could be the reinvention kind of esque what Fox is doing, just kind of like shooting and seeing where it's going to go. But I feel like I am directly worried that WB have already shot themselves in the foot and they're going to continue to do so because they can't stand on their own foundations. And what I mean by that is whenever something comes out, they don't sit there and just squash it and just be like, all right, look, it is what it is. And I'm not going to, like you said, Lucas, like I can't sit there and blame WB, but at the same time, like some of this stuff could have easily just been squashed and it just isn't. And the clickbaiters are not going to stop because at this point, this is a part of the social media. Like if you go on Twitter right now, you will see something either Marvel or DC related on every single Twitter thing. So I'm excited to see what the DCU is going to do. If everybody can just leave their ratings, what you rate it from 1 to 10, and then I guess we're done for part 1 because there is going to be a part 2 later.
For me, I give it an 8 out of 10. That's how I feel about the movie. I'm not nitpicky with this movie or anything. I enjoyed it for what it was. I was happy with what it is. So 8 out of 10 for me.
9 out of 10 for me. I'm the same way. I'm not judging it. I'm taking all the nitpicky stuff. This is one of the few movies ever, actually, much like Thor Ragnarok, it was actually one of the first times in a while I didn't put everybody else's outside influence into how I felt about the movie. And I just enjoyed it for what it was. I got a 9 out of 10. So yeah, I can't wait for part 2. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
Mo, you muted.
8.5 out of 10, bro. First of all, I'm amazed that D gave it a 9. That's a really high number. Movie had too many problems to be a 9 for me, but 8.5. And
you like?
You're right.
Nigga, did you just say it gave you too many problems to get a 9 and you gave it an 8.5? A half a point?
Yes. No. Listen. Exactly. And that's the reason why there's a half. Could give it a 9, but there's certain things I just personally cannot overlook. Make me go there. That's just it. I enjoyed it though. I liked the shit out this movie, and I'm watching it again. Easy. I mean, let me see. How many movies in this year have I said 8.5? Wonder Woman, this movie. Not even Thor or Guardians of the Galaxy got 8.5 out of me. So yeah.
My bad. I didn't ask everybody the ranking of these movies.
No, I'm just saying in retrospect.
No. I just didn't ask. I'm just saying. I'm saying I gotta ask you guys. I forgot to ask you guys.
Coming? Oh no. Regardless, 8.5.
So we're not gonna go back and forth with more about his 8.5 compared to these 9. That makes literally no sense to me. But again, as I said before, these movies are always judged on a sliding scale with me because I can't judge it like I normally would judge stuff. But 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 stars. So to me, that would be like a 7.5, somewhere in that area.
That will be an 8 or a 7.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. The flaws are not enough to really affect the outcome of the film. Because if you have to start nitpicking at things, that's not a flaw. That's you looking for a problem. Yeah. And I don't think I saw an issue, whether it was the CGI, any of that shit. I didn't see obvious issues with this movie. So I'm going to say 3.5. My bad. 3 out of 4, or as D said, I'll say 7.5 out of 10, somewhere in that area.
I'm really sad that people think Steppenwolf is a weak villain.
Oh, also,
really,
real quick,
sad.
I don't want to fuck up Sam's podcast. But real quick, I know Sam won't do it, and I know eventually I'm going to do a podcast where I start naming all of you punk ass bloggers out there who do shit like this to get the fucking clickbait to fuck up there. I have names, I have lists. I can fucking destroy you compared to what movies that you said were good compared to this. Some of you know who you are. Some of you know the fucking movies that you said were good that everyone else believes is fucking trash, and then you trash movies in this genre. All I'm saying is, like I said, I judge shit on a sliding scale. Treat all these motherfuckers the same way. No difference. There you go.
Oh, snap. In other words, Luke is coming for you. Prepare yourself.
Oh, sorry about that.
No. You just got, what was your rating on Justice League? And then what would you rank this between all the rest of the other DCU movies?
Probably 7.5 to 8. I think just my own enjoyability and how much I enjoyed it, especially knowing if I suspend disbelief. Like I know a lot, they had to do a lot to manage what happened with Zack Snyder and all that. So yeah, I think I would probably do Wonder Woman, this, Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, BVS.
Oh, no. Everybody's gonna get a chance to do this. So, Mo, what is your ranking from DCU?
Oh,
do my Mo voice.
DCU ranking:
Man of Steel,
Justice League, Man of Steel, Justice League, Man of Steel.
Whoa,
BVS,
hold on. You said this goes over Justice League?
This goes over what?
No, I know what Sam wanted to say, but let him finish, Sam. Let him finish.
No, I couldn't hear him. I'm sorry.
He said Justice League, Man of Steel.
Yes, it definitely does go over Man of Steel for me, because the Justice League is, the team up, the culmination of all the characters, and I think I love Superman as a character, but I like the team up better. That's why I like the Justice League cartoons better than the Superman cartoons. So yeah, Justice League, Man of Steel, BVS, unrated, Ultimate Edition, Wonder Woman,
and then Suicide Squad.
Oh yes, Suicide Squad. I get I mean, honorable mentions.
D, Johnson, Lucas, what are y'all's rankings?
All right, my ranking will be the. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard to pull off. All right, I know Suicide Squad definitely at the bottom of this list for sure. Justice League, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad.
Wait, I got confused. So what was your first? What was your top one? Wonder Woman.
All right, Justice League is at the top. Wonder Woman is second. Man of Steel is third. BVS is fourth, and Suicide Squad is at the bottom.
Okay. All right, D and Lucas.
Same as Jonathan's. Just switch. See, I can't say that with a straight face. I can't say that with a straight face. Actually, it's just like his. Only thing I would say is just that I am, as much as I really hated what happened with Batman versus Superman, there's just a lot of the way it looked. I love so much of it. But yeah, just like Jonathan's, it's the same ranking. It's the same as that rank. I was gonna flip Wonder Woman and Batman versus Superman. I was like, no, that's stupid. That's just stupid. So yeah, I'm with Jonathan. Yeah.
And Lucas, the person that doesn't care anything about the superhero genre, what do you rate?
Number one is Wonder Woman.
Ask Lucas to rate this movie.
Number one. Number
If
one.
say
Number
fuck
one
all, that would be the realest thing he has ever said, man.
Hey, I want to, but Sam asked me for a ranking, and I will give him a ranking of these shitty movies. Wonder Woman is number one. Justice League is number two. Suicide Squad is number three.
Really?
BVS is number four. BVS Ultimate Edition, if you want to, BVS Ultimate Edition is number 5. And Man of Steel is number 6.
Yo, did Clark Kent come into your bedroom and touch you? What happened?
Jeez, seriously.
Oh, man.
Here you go. I already knew it would trigger Mo.
Yo, did Zack Snyder call you up one day?
No, but D, after we did on Sam's channel, after we did the Man of Steel commentary track, no one should ask me why Man of Steel is last when the first 30 fucking minutes of that movie is completely unnecessary.
Son, I will not.
Fuck that movie, Joey. Fuck that movie.
Wait, hold on. I haven't. Hey, we can't spoil that yet. I haven't released our commentary for BVS or Man of Steel yet. That's coming, you guys.
Yeah.
Dude, I would not disagree with you though, man. But I'm just saying though, the Zack Snyder, Joe, on this look, I got a doll in my hand. Show me where Zack Snyder touched you at, man.
Oh shit! But I would say again for the people of this genre, it can be selective. To me, it is kind of easy and point blank and simple. Suicide Squad was hated because I don't understand what the fuck that woman was in that movie. I'm completely confused what she was. I ain't even gonna say her name because I don't know what the fuck she was. But their interactions with each other was better than anything that happened in BVS or Man of Steel. Completely better.
I can hear you. I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Oh man, I think I'm probably gonna have a harder time with this ranking. Man, I didn't even think about it. I asked y'all. Oh Lord.
Five movies, Sam. It's not like you're ranking Marvel. It's 5 movies, Sam. It's not that difficult.
I can rank those really quick, but okay. Anyway, dang man. Shoot. All right, Suicide Squad's at the bottom for sure. Shucks. Well, I might trigger some people with this one.
Uh-oh.
You say something stupid like BVS anything is number 1. I know you on some form of crack or something.
I don't think
so. This is what I'm gonna say. All right, I'm gonna put Man of Steel number 1.
Wow.
Wonder Woman number 2.
Wonder
Woman number 2. Just let me talk. Wonder Woman number 2. Justice League number 3. BVS
number 4.
And then Suicide Squad number 5. That's what I'm gonna stay with right now. Because I can't count the Ultimate Edition in this at all. Like I have to go off the theatrical version.
Oh, it's a crappy movie, so you can actually count that too. It's just a longer crappy movie.
I just can't. So Yeah, I mean, Man of Steel is
Sam,
still one of my favorites. Man. I'm sorry.
Sam, I really want to know how Man of Steel is that much more superior to this movie.
To me, it was a great origin story for a brand new generation, for this generation to be able to understand and comprehend what Superman can and will be. And so for me, I really appreciate the movie. Like, even me and Jarrell talk about that. If Jarrell was here, he would say the same exact thing.
Eventually, y'all gonna have to explain how is it better than Wonder Woman.
I mean, for me,
I need actually logic. I need the logic behind that one, because it ain't there. So that's personal feelings more than anything. That's the fanboy stuff I always talk about. Fanboy.
It's really not. For me, it's really not. Like, you guys really loved Wonder Woman. I really appreciate how good Wonder Woman was. I love Steve Trevor in it. I love the action moments in it. I love the hope that inspired behind it. But it
cohesive
just
story.
Wasn't my favorite. It just wasn't. It just wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite out of all these. Like, it was my second favorite. Like, that's just the way I feel about it. It's like if somebody asked me, what's a better film, Batman '89 versus The Dark Knight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have a hard time with that. But if you're asking me Man of Steel versus
Sam, we're gonna have to do more discussions.
No,
because the question is, what is my favorite movie, not what is the best movie.
So I thought we were doing best movie.
You said Batman 89.
Hold on, what we just doing best movie? Or we were doing favorite movie?
Oh, we was doing favorite. If we was doing favorite, all right, then shoot. Y'all gonna hate me.
Yeah, because my list is the same. No matter
Wait, what is that?
Because we thought you were saying best, not favorite.
Yeah,
those are two separate arguments.
Favorite movies out of this franchise, out of the DCU.
Oh yeah, that changes everything.
Because there's no way Man of Steel. I'll rank it for best, because favorite would always be Man of Steel.
And it killed Mo a little bit inside. It killed him a little inside, not to put.
Oh, it's and I explained why. Because honestly, the team ups, Justice League is always a tad bit above Superman. Like, the whole team coming together is always going to be better than anything Superman does. Even in the comics, I still would read a Justice League comic over. I would drop a Superman comic before I drop a Justice League comic book.
I agree.
The team,
I agree with
yes, it's always about the team for me. But I mean, if it's about my favorite movie,
so wait, does this change everybody's ranking then? So everybody does different ranking?
Yeah, yes, it does. Yeah. Most of them, not mine. Mine is still the same.
What word changes the whole
ranking changes if we're going best movie. My ranks changed.
Yeah, best from favorite, Sam. You got to be more clear there, sir.
Okay, what's your favorite? What's your top favorite films? I just said top films, but whatever. What's your top DCU favorite films?
I mean, it's Man of Steel, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Batman v Superman.
Okay. D, what's yours? What's that?
D took a break. I think Lucas.
What?
What's your
favorite?
Oh, my favorite. Oh, if that's the case, well, it's Justice League #1. Then and y'all gonna hate me for it, but F all of y'all. I like Batman versus Superman.
No, that's okay. That's okay, D. That's okay.
That movie's terrible. Oh yes, that movie is terrible. But I can put half of that movie. I can actually print out scenes of that movie, like just stills of that movie, and just have it tacked all over my wall, because the movie looked like a comic book to me, and I loved it. So there you go.
Sam threw everybody else there.
And then it would be Wonder Woman, and then it would be Man of Steel. Then Suicide Squad. That don't change. Suicide Squad still that's still fifth place. That don't change nothing.
See, damn. Well, let me do mine quick. I ain't gonna do. I'm just gonna say them and get this shit over with. #1 would still be Wonder Woman. #2 would be Suicide Squad. #3 would be Justice League. #4 would still be BVS, and #5 would still be Man of Steel.
Get out.
Jonathan, what's yours?
From now on?
Hey, Lucas, real quick. Did Zack Snyder call you and say your mama ain't shit? Is that what happened?
Hey, Ant went with me when I went to go see Suicide Squad. And as I'm sitting through the movie, keep in mind, I don't know anything about these characters. But as I'm sitting through it, I was like, dude, this is like a fun piece of shit. Have you ever saw a fun piece of shit before?
Yeah, literally.
Did I keep on saying that? I kept on saying this is a fun piece of shit.
He had me convinced. I was like, this was a fun piece of shit.
We left Suicide Squad, and Ant was like, man, this was a good movie. I like Suicide Squad.
And then I saw it the next day by myself, and I was like, what happened? It was like Lucas, a white man with glasses.
So what happened?
It's because Suicide Squad was the only movie that they made that I thought I could completely cut my brain off on and it not bother me, because there was nothing semi-serious in it. Like all the rest of the shit was way too serious at times to cut your brain off. So you had to think, and to have to think about this shit, I'm gonna break it down a lot worse. Suicide Squad was like a Die Hard 4. Like fuck thinking, you know, just go in and watch shit blow up. That's a
fucking point. That's a point. I can see that.
So Jonathan and Anthony, what's y'all's favorite ranking? Then we're gonna close out.
Favorite ranking, huh? Shoot. I think I'm just gonna keep mine the way it is. I'm not changing it no way, no how.
Oh, fuck. That's fair, Jonathan. Respect. Anthony.
Wonder Woman is just a solid film that I've watched multiple times and I've enjoyed it every time.
Exactly. Jesus.
Damn it, Lucas, you made me forget how much fun I had watching that with you.
Exactly. You had fun watching Suicide Squad.
And you know what? I've watched that one multiple times too. All right, so yeah, I have to go Suicide Squad because I had a good time watching that. You did it to me again.
Wait, what's your number 3?
God dang. That'll be Justice League because I've seen that twice and I could probably see it again. Man of Steel I ain't seen in years, but I'd watch that again before I even had to watch 30 minutes of Batman vs Superman. I have not been able to get through that film again. I tried to do the Ultimate Edition, but it gave me flashbacks to the original theatrical cut, so I couldn't. So I don't know, but if it turns to pure enjoyment,
it's terrible.
I enjoyed Wonder Woman. Like it's a good. I think it's a solid film again.
I still wake up to Wonder Woman song every morning.
Yeah, right. Sing it. Do it for me, Lucas. Do it for me.
Like every morning, Joe. Every morning I wake up to that song. I feel like a strong woman every morning before I go to work.
Right, and I could watch it again, and I could probably watch Suicide Squad. Watch Suicide Squad multiple times.
Exactly.
It's dumb, but I get it. But I cannot watch Batman vs Superman again.
See, Lucas,
I cannot.
Bro. Lucas, you fucked up. Now I have to go get Geostorm when it come out on Blu-ray because we have
exactly. How much fun did we have at the movie? That's what it is.
That was the most fun.
I'm so happy I didn't go see that shit with you guys. I can't believe Sam went in.
That was one of the best.
It's like, come on, man.
That was one of the best movie experiences ever.
That movie was horrible.
Hilarious. It was so bad that we would crack. Oh God, I loved it, man.
It's the movie because again, I think what Lucas touched on the head right here is we forgot that there were things like popcorn movies. Like popcorn movies, you're not supposed to deconstruct. You're not supposed to do. You're supposed to go in
to the T.
It's a popcorn movie. Yeah, and so yeah, if you could switch your brain off, which we did in Suicide Squad, it was you, me, and Ish, I think, in there, and we had a ball. We were drinking.
I tried to switch my brain off in Man of Steel, and they kept on trying to make me think. And then I was like, "Fuck this movie, Joe."
Bro, don't act like you didn't cry when Kevin Costner told Clark, "Don't save him." Don't act like you didn't cry.
Don't do it.
That was not realistic.
That's the coldest line in the world. He basically told him, "Let people die. Fuck them. Fuck them kids. Fuck them kids, Clark."
And he calls permanent trauma to a god. He calls mental trauma to a god. Like I don't know.
So we're gonna close out. We're going off kilter. CJ's left, Chris is left. I just want to let you guys know all these guys. They got awesome.
I like that part.
They got awesome channels. They got awesome podcasts. Go down to the description bar below. You can check and find all of them. Even Draw 4, Earth 2 Comic Cast, Black Wing, 3 Black Geeks. They're all there. Definitely go subscribe and follow. And we'll be back for a part 2 where I have like a whole separate dish of things to talk about Justice League and some other people that are going to try to jump on. stay tuned for that a little bit later on. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this spoiler discussion of Justice League. We all liked it. There's problems here or there, but it's still an enjoyable film. Go see it if you haven't seen it yet. Peace, everybody.
Later.
Peace.
See.